Yeah. Now, I'm not sure what I think of this. I I'm a little skeptical on the fact that earthquakes and volcanoes and all these natural disasters, but I do believe magic could influence something in a negative way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's working with the energies. Magic is just literally channeling energies, whether you want to call it deities, whether you want to call it intent. You're channeling things outside of yourself. And if the universe is, already aiming towards, hey, I'm going to shake up the earth, then yeah, it can kind of push the energy in that direction. Scientifically, yeah.
I also don't believe that magic is a result of natural things. An earthquake is caused by tectonics and plate shifting and all that inner earth kind of deal. So I just don't understand how somebody could be that powerful to make earthquakes happen. And, this is a jab. Again, folks, this is a jab at people that live in a certain area. Haiti is known for voodoo. Haiti is known for magic. And I think it's a jab at those people. And I don't think that this guy has a right to influence, if you will, that kind of stuff in that way. However, we've seen it all the time. Massachusetts was full, Salem to be honest with you, and other parts. A lot of people don't realize that Massachusetts was a state that colonists came to that were divert Christians. They were ready to go.
Puritans.
And these people took their religion and took what they wanted.
They were Puritans. They were the ones that they were Puritans. We still have a lot of the Puritan ancestors out there who are still blaming witches for these things to this day. So I guess it depends on what side of the religious pole you're standing at. Some people do hold them responsible for stuff like that. They hold them responsible for the natural disasters down in New Orleans. When Katrina hit, a lot of people believed it was because of all the voodoo and the worship of deities that went on down in that area. You heard it was a lot of the modern Christian movements or Pentecostal, although sometimes they come together. It's really weird. But when hurricanes hit, there was a lot of religious fanatics that were literally blaming voodoo for the flooding and the hurricanes and the destruction of that town. And they believed it. They believe it.
Yeah. As you can tell, people, it is the 4th of July, and we just heard some more fireworks going off. Every year I often wonder if these people have to sneak these things over in big vans or trucks, for God's sake. The other day we saw some stuff that I wouldn't doubt if that stuff isn't supposed to be licensed. But anyways, going on to other news, the political side of things, is Donald Trump going to finally disclose aliens and other UFO stuff? Will he do it? That's a question that is on some people's minds. I personally voted for Donald Trump, so I don't know if but that is on people's minds all of a sudden. I think a lot more stuff should be on their mind than if Donald Trump is going to be disclosure. But I do believe that it is something that we need to focus on. It is something that we need to have. I don't know. The phones, folks, if you want to call in and be a part of the program tonight, we would love to have you. 607-238-3816 is the phone number to call. We also have a live iVlogTV.com chat room. It is almost full. I'd love to see it fuller. We are working on getting other chat rooms for you. We are working on getting other things for you, the viewer, and the listener to be a part of this program. We got some other news here. As I shuffle through this news paperwork, folks, if you're watching me, I have it right here in front of me on this board, and I have it right here in front of me. Some things that we are following, that we have been following in the news, is, as our first caller kind of had before he got a little excited there, UFO sightings all over the USA. United States is full of them all of a sudden. Dogman and Bigfoot sightings are on the rise. This reminds me, Dogman, werewolves, Mysti can back me up on this, do have a magical principle to them. So don't vampires. I haven't had a good vampire story in a long time, though. I think the last time I heard a vampire story was my few paranormal investigations back. As you all know, I do paranormal investigations. And finally, weird energies. Mysti, you're going to like this one. Weird energies are being felt by people. Could it be a shift of time and space? And it goes on talking scientifically how our Earth is changing, how our rotation is changing, the moon's changing. My question to Mysti, being in the magical art she is, could any of these energies be influencing anybody's practice or be a result of people's magic or the way they're doing things?
So you're asking me if we're responsible for Bigfoot and what
No, energies all over the earth. The last one here. Dogman could be. I mean, if they're werewolves, somebody transferred somebody into an animal. But what I'm saying is weird energies are being felt. There's like 4 stories of people who are feeling weird energies. There's something is up with the earth. Something is going on.
A lot of people are talking about in both. I mean, pretty much up the scale. Alternative news is, the shifting of the veil or the lifting of the veil. So I guess that would fall in that category. I'm thinking, does magic have anything to do with it? No. I think it's just it's like we're taking a hyper jump through awareness here. And I think people are just starting to be more aware and more awake to these things. And with that, it kind of makes it more apparent. I think people are just starting to wake up to everything. Because all this talk here was taboo for so long until, if you're in the 70s, it started in the 70s, died in the 80s, and now we're having another big awakening right now. So people are starting to notice these things, and I don't think there's anything magical about it. It's just evolution.
Yeah, it's to me it's I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty fascinating to me on the level that if our energies and our world is going back, I read a story a while back that said that we are back in the days of Enoch. We are back in the days where the Egyptians had the pyramids. And the energies that we're giving off and the things that we're doing scientifically, a lot of people are bringing up CERN. A lot of people are bringing up that the government is doing evil stuff. However, I believe that maybe there has been a shift. There's been several ice ages. There's been several means of, if you will, quote unquote, high energy fluctuations in the Earth's period of time. And to me, it just is another cycle that we're going through. Now, is it, like you said, an energy cycle of people's consciousness? Is it an energy cycle of the Earth that normally happens? And it normally would happen anyways? Or is it something special? I'm not really sure. But I do believe that these things are happening. I do believe that people are feeling a little weird for whatever reason they want to feel weird. And it's almost like it's becoming aggressive in the nature of the word aggressive.
It's happening fast. People are really starting to wake up. So you're having a division of people who are kind of like out of sight, out of mind, conspiracy theory, weirdos, wackos, whatever. But then now you're starting to get a bigger audience of people who are like, hey, you know what? With all the advances in science and technology, it doesn't seem so impossible anymore. Yeah, it is like a massive awakening. Some of the sheep have come out of their trance, I guess. Others are just kind of like, we don't want to know. Whatever happens will happen. But there's a bigger community of people who want to know, who are more curious and starting to dig and starting to really educate themselves and kind of come to their own conclusions. A lot of the conclusions are identical, so I would say definitely. I mean, but I don't think it has anything to do with magic. I think it's just pure evolution. And we're not only evolving in our bodies, we're evolving in our minds. So, you know, things are starting to open up in our minds as we evolve. So, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. There's nothing magical about it. It's, you know, if you look at human beings in the 1800s and you look at us now, we would actually be aliens to them. You know?
Yeah.
So we're going to see another period of that.
Well, there is a theory on if aliens did come to Earth, how lacking, how caveman and primitive we would be to them.
Yes.
And that is a big controversy right now. A big thing in science is that we are so primitive. Why would aliens even want to come to this planet in the first place?
Well, it's like I was saying, if we were to go back in time, say like the 1800s, the 1700s, if we had that ability to do that, we go back in time, why would we do that? Well, curiosity. How was it? Maybe the aliens probably get curious like we do. We would go back in time in 1750, let's say, and they look at us from 2017. Do you not think that we would be kind of alien to them? We would be. We would be like out of this world. They would definitely think we came from outer space. So I just think that I don't know. I just think that's how the cookie crumbles, man. And I really do think they're fixing to make themselves more known because so many people now are becoming more accepting of it. You know, there's going to be a point where it's just everyday talk and, oh, by the way, another UFO sighting, da-da-da-da-da-da. It becomes the norm. And when that becomes the norm, and then they're going to phase it up a little bit. Okay, let's see what happens when somebody actually comes face to face with one of these things. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a strategy behind introducing these things.
Well, I think we've already done it. I think we've already come face to face, and I think the government does hide stuff. And I've discussed this many a times on my programs, that what happens if... I mean, they do it for safety precautions. If the news went on there and said, oh, aliens exist, they can do this, this, and this to you, people would panic, people would worry, people would get sick, the world would be in turmoil. And there's different kinds of aliens. There's different kinds of aliens, just like there's different kinds of insects. I could come up to you and say, hey, one insect will sting you, hurt you, and you'll die. Another insect will come up to you and just sit on your shoulder and relax. Another insect will buzz around you and annoy you all to hell. Okay? But they're no danger. Other insects are dangerous if they're not left alone. It's the same thing with other intelligence. And if we're on the subject of intelligence, we have intelligence on this earth right now that we ignore. For one animal...
They're intelligent enough, they don't like us very much, I can tell you that.
Well...
I mean, human beings can't even stand human beings. You know, you look at our leaders who supposedly represent us, but don't represent us at all, and that's like the front face of any invasion is going to be our leader. So it's just like, I don't think that they're going to like us very much. And I don't want to see that day. I don't want my children to see that day. I just don't see it being a peaceful conference, a peaceful approach in any way whatsoever. So even if you keep it a secret and they decide, hey, we're just going to invade, or we're just going to start popping up or whatever, no matter how you bring it to people, it's never going to be easy to accept.
Well,
You know, they can only condition us so much to accept it before they're just like, okay, we're running out of time. So I don't think it's going to be friendly at all.
I also don't think that people are ready for what. I mean, we can't even take care of each other here. I mean, people from other countries come to us that, you know, Mexico for one, other refugees from other nations and other countries, and we treat them like dirt. What are we going to do from something from another world that we just basically don't understand? It might even be weaker or stronger than us. If we can't take care of our own, there's some people that can't even. There's some people who can't even take care of their own pit bull in their own damn yard, let alone welcome another species to our planet.
Well, exactly. Look what they did to the Area 51 crash. Look what they did to the extraterrestrial they found. Do you really think that they nurtured him, took care of him, gave him a proper burial, contacted his parents, and loved him? No, it was a specimen. Do you think that maybe other aliens tried to contact us to see what happened to their ship and their pilot? I mean,
I don't think it was. I don't even think the aliens did it. My personal opinion, I have said many times on Area 51. I have a personal opinion that makes absolute sense. It was not the alien flying the craft in the first place. We were testing it. We were flying it. We crashed it. And that's why they were there that quick. Because they wanted to cover it up. They wanted to make it into something so that people didn't find out the truth.
I don't know. I don't believe the technology advances we have right now are coming from us. I do believe they're coming from. I believe they're coming from outside influences for sure.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that we have knowledge of.
Smart.
Well, we have knowledge of things that are far worldly than our own, and we mix them with our own stuff. I firmly believe that.
I think that knowledge just came from. I don't think that knowledge came from. I mean, even the most genius of the genius in our world didn't come up with some of these things. I mean, Tesla was the closest. He had a lot of technologies that were way advanced before his time. A lot of his schematics through history have fallen into the hands of the Nazis, the American government, and that's where we saw the biggest technical advances. They are still using Tesla's schematics and inventions. The electric car came from one of his theories, along with, of course, modern-day technology. But I don't think that I just don't see human beings being that smart to advance us that fast in the way we have in the last 25 years. I think that I just don't believe it. I look at the way they run our world, and I'm like, there's no way there's a genius behind there. So I don't know, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of things going on, like you said. I also believe there's a lot of things that we don't know about. And I was told many, many years ago when I was in high school that you will find out about technology years after that they have perfected it. Because when I was going to high school, the internet was not new, but it was not like it is today. And I was told the internet had already been perfected to the level that it is now, because that's when the public gets it. And the example was very simple: an automatic battery-operated toothbrush that had the toothpaste in it. That thing was invented years before it ever came out on the market. They made sure it was great, they knew it was wonderful, and they put it out on the market. Meaning that the technology that we see today could have been made back in the 90s, and now they're bringing it out to us. It's just a hidden world, and it's not always what it seems.
I don't know what to say about that. I think that alien technologies came to us, and I think a lot of the pyramids, I think a lot of the secrets were buried in the pyramids. With the people who, they called them gods back then, and deities, I think a lot of those secrets are buried within the pyramids. And when we had the age of Hitler, I think Hitler, he had a lot of excavators and archaeologists that went into those pyramids and basically gutted the underworld of Egypt. And I think they got their hands on some of these things, and I think that's where some of these technologies came from. Because a lot of stuff that Hitler had his scientists and his people working on was like just crazy stuff that you would not see till like 30 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think it's real coincidental that we had such a big technical boom when Hitler was around, and then we didn't have any technology, but he did all the excavation, you know, down in Egypt and everything, where we have, you know, hieroglyphs that depict alien beings in flying saucers. So it's like, what was he doing down there in those pyramids? I think he was getting all their secrets. But that's just me. So, you know. And then, you know, a lot of the scientists came over here after World War, and what was it, Operation Paperclip? Is that what it is, guys? Operation Paperclip? Something like that, where they brought all those scientists and techie people after Hitler got brought down. They came to the United States and kept working forward on those inventions. So I think a lot of them might have came from World War II.
Yeah,
because after that, that technology just boomed after that.
The CIA did a lot of things, and Operation Paperclip was just one of them. There is even stuff today found out that Hitler had ideas and wanted to do stuff above and beyond what he did or what he was allowed to do. There's many people now saying that we allowed him to do stuff in World War II because a lot of that stuff we could have immediately got him for it. We could have immediately taken care of, and we just ignored it.
Why else would we bring all his scientific crew over? Why else would we give him amnesty? You know, they came and they went from there and they came straight and started working for our people, you know? I mean, why else would we bring them over if they didn't have something valuable that we wanted? And that very possibly could be one of the reasons why the war existed. You know, nobody ever looks into that very much, but maybe there were some, you know, hidden things as to what actually went on in World War, because he did find a lot of stuff out in Egypt during those excavations. We know that, but what did he find? We don't know that. So, I mean, but that's just one theory about how technology just all of a sudden boomed from that time period. Because before that, there was no real incline of technology. I mean, there was inventions, but nothing like we're seeing today. Since World War II and after, 50s to now is when it really just bam, at a rapid rate.
Well, you do realize that...
We had holograms. Remember that game Dragon Slayer?
Yeah.
It was the very first hologram video game. It was so ahead of its time, people couldn't play it. It was cool to look at, but it was so advanced that they actually took it off the market.
Was that one where the knight ran around and tried to kill stuff, and if he died, you died a horrible death? It looked like he was split apart.
I think that sounds like Dragon's Lair. He goes from room to room. It was
Yeah.
like three-dimensional, like hologram. Yeah, and it was too advanced for the people of the late 80s. It was too advanced that people couldn't really play it, and people didn't play it. And so they took it off the market. It was too advanced for people. Now, if you brought it back out again, people would probably be able to play it, but for some reason, during that time span, it was just too advanced. Nobody really took to it. Which is weird, because I thought it was cool, man. You got, Dragon Slayer right there, you know, that was really cool, but...
Well, it had no ending to it, too, they claim. That was one of the flaws in the game. It had no true ending. It you know, and back then they had Mario, for God's sake. I mean...
But you see the difference between the primitive mind and a more advanced mind. The mind back then in the 80s was still so primitive that people couldn't play Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Video game junkies couldn't latch on to that concept. But Mario Brothers, where we have a simplistic thing, was the big thing. You see the difference in the intelligence, I guess, or the way the mind worked back then? It was simplistic. Now we're in a time where it's not thinking is less simplistic. And people are just becoming a lot deeper, logical, you know? And with the age of technology, that simplicity is slowly going away. So we have to be advancing mentally, which again would be the lifting of the veil. I think it's just evolution.
Well, but this lifting of the veil has happened many a times. It's not something that's just happening now. It's just a magical thing coming in. I'm not an.
It's just a way of life.
I'm
go ahead.
I'm not an evolutionist. I just don't believe in evolution, but I think you're right. I think it's part of humans' way of doing things.
Advancement. Call it advancement. I'm not talking about evolution like, oh, we were fish, we're monkeys. I'm talking about mental evolution or spiritual evolution. An evolution where our soul and our mind and our thinking is more connected than it ever has been. But you know what? If you look at people back at the turn of the century, they look nothing like we do now. We are definitely evolving in that way too, but I was kind of talking about the mental evolution and spiritual evolution that's happening. You know, it's not magical, it's always happened throughout time. We're just doing it at a rapid rate now because of technology.
Yeah. And technology is changing too, to the point where I believe technology is at a level where it's almost out of control in a way. I mean, our children don't play outside. They'd rather play on their tablet or their cell phone. I remember playing outside and having to use my imagination. I guess. But we're coming up on a break here, folks. I just noticed the time. Folks, if you want to call in, 607-238-3816. Our email is cwlawrence01@gmail.com. We also have a website, www.brotherwade.com. And we'll be right back right after this. Alright, folks, we're back. We are live. Our live call-in number is 607-238-3816. Don't forget to tune in to our Facebooks and our Twitters, my website, www.brotherwade.com, my email, and don't send me an email telling me my show sucks, because I already know that. Don't send me an email telling me my show is great, because I already know that too. Alright? Alright, folks, we have Mysti here with us, who's barely making it now. So what's on your mind? What is on you, the viewer's mind, you, the listener's mind? Earlier we were talking about government stuff, and on the break we have helicopters fly over Mysti's house. If that's not something impressive, I don't know what is. So, we have other topics here. What do you guys want to talk about? I can't see the room. The iBlog TV chat room we have. So it's getting up to that point, folks, where we are getting a little bit bigger in this program. And we're transitioning, by the way, folks. If you're wondering why Mysti's here, if you're wondering why there might be a slight name change, we're transitioning into a bigger and better show. I hope. I hope it does fluctuate into that. I hope it does come moderate into that a little bit. So, let's welcome Mysti back. Mysti, are you there, or have you done with your smoke break, or what there?
No, I'm trying to. I'm seeing I can't put the thrifty witchery up there. We're doing a giveaway. I'm giving some stuff away for people who go and and leave a comment on the show post. We're giving away a free prosperity kit to one person we're going to choose just randomly. So I'm trying to give a link to where to find us, but it removes the link I see. So it's the Thrifty Witchery, y'all, on Facebook. And we're starting out as a publication for the pagan community and whatnot. We do a lot of charitable services for the pagan community as well. So we're offering you a free prosperity kit. Just go visit us, leave us a comment, and we'll get a hold of the winner, and we'll go ahead and take care of that.
And this goes for anybody that hears us, maybe in the archives as well. If you want to be a part of this contest, just go up to the YouTube. And make sure you're serious about this. This is a very serious contest. I know the contents of those things. And trust me, folks, if I could enter this contest and we didn't have rules about the staff members, which hint, hint, folks, we're going to have a memo go out to those in charge, hint, hint. If I wasn't a staff member, this is one heck of a great prize for you. It is the Thrifty Witchery up on Facebook, as she said. And it has all sorts of stuff. Misty, what's in that basket?
Actually, we're going to take some stuff from Taoism. We see a lot of Wiccan, we see a lot of the hoodoo voodoo, so I thought I'd kind of create something that had, well, you know, who's infamous for prosperity? It's the Asians, right? They all got money. So I developed a kit. It's a custom kit, and it's got the Asian reflective mirror that reflects back the negative energy. It's got some fresh herbs, lemongrass herbs, some fresh herbs, and some conditioned oils. It's going to have about 0.5 ounce of dragon's blood in it. And we're going to throw some joss paper in there with some instructions on how to increase somebody's prosperity, kind of draw in a little luck. But we're going to do it the Taoistic way. So we're going to, everything is going to be based around Asian medicine and Asian, I guess, root work. Don't know exactly what they call it in Asia, but it's the equivalent of root work. So we're just going to say that the way they do it over there. But it's really cool. It's real simple. It's the same methods as you would to clean your chi or align your chakra, whatever you want to call it. You can use it for meditation. It also is the same purpose, but it's a really nice kit. It's very colorful. Everything smells great in it, and it's a really good way to just kind of boost your financials. Maybe there's, you know, something's lacking in business, even in personal life, because we can prosper in all different parts of our life. So it really just tackles all those different avenues that might need a little jump start, you know. So prosperity kits are great. It's one of our biggest sellers. Everybody's trying to boost their income, so we get a lot of good feedback on that.
Now, one more thing about this that I want to find out. When you say your financial income and your prosperity, you're talking about the universe's way of doing this, not like millions and thousands of dollars are going to come to you.
No, and the way it works, here's the thing. It's a lot of people will be like, oh, I burned my candle, I meditated on it, I listened to my mantra and all this, and I'm still not, but the thing is that they're sitting on their chair watching The Price is Right every day. You know, it's like sitting there and waiting for money to fall on your lap. It's not going to happen. And what this does is it reconditions your environment, so when you take the steps to better your prosperity, it kind of supercharges it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to a job interview, it gives a little extra charge and a little better juju in that direction. You know what I mean? You have to make an effort in order for an effort to be made to you. You know, you can't just sit there and expect things to just, that doesn't happen. But as long as you take the effort and make the effort, you'll start to see things kind of fall in line, you know. That's the way it works. It's really like the law of attraction, which Zig Ziglar wrote a book on the law of attraction and 7 ways, you know, 7 laws of attraction. That is a huge part of all this. And so you're just really conditioning yourself to bring in good things. But you got to get up and try all at the same time. So it's effort, you know. But I've had a lot of good feedback, and it's really just kind of lining yourself up back in sync of what it's supposed to be, you know, or what you desire. So good stuff.
Now, this kit has stuff in it that I could use, correct?
This kit has stuff in it anyone can use. yeah. It's a really good kit. And you know, when I make the ingredients, when I make my oils, every ingredient in my oil is blessed. Every ingredient in the kit is blessed. Everything is cleansed and is wrapped and is ready to go. You know, I put a lot of work into these, and I try to kind of rear away from what you're seeing everywhere else. I like to dip into different little cultural things. That way there's a diversity of workings. And it all comes down to roots and herbs and oils and alchemy and whatnot. So that's what my kits are based off of. Heavy in the root work, some alchemy, and then, you know, basically just science, you know, understanding the science of it all. You know, so I put a lot into it. So whoever's going to get this kit is gonna like it. I can say that.
And I really want to win it myself.
You could use prayer too. That's what a lot of people don't understand. In hoodoo, like on the line of root work, what I do, I heavily use the Bible. In fact, I use the Bible for 90% of my workings. I use the Psalms. I use verses. And so these things are very universal. You implement it into whatever your system of belief is. It doesn't matter what you believe. This is something that is like a sub-practice, and you can implement it into whatever your path is. You know what I mean? It's not designated. It's very universal. So all my kits are universal. So, you know.
Yeah. It sounds like this thing is absolutely cool. And again, I wish I could win something like this, but we have quote-unquote staff rules because of the management office around here. And everybody knows that's listening to my programs knows that the management office and I, you know, they have a little chair in there now just for me because I'm in there so many times. It's like the principal's office. They put their own little comfy chair for me in there. But on to the other stuff we have. 607-238-3816 is our phone number live. You can call us. The number, the system here, what happens is you're put into the system. It's advertising. On there, there's different messages for you. There's upcoming events and everything on there. And it's set up that way for a purpose. So call, do what you you know need to do.
I've got something to talk about.
You got something.
So we need to find a wife for Wade.
Oh boy.
We are soon going to be sponsoring a wedding for Wade if he can find a wife.
Yeah.
Sponsoring the wedding's not the problem, it's finding the wife. So.
And hopefully this time my wife can be a human being.
And not a monster.
I thought you liked the whole probing thing.
Well.
Sorry.
I don't mind it if it's another person that we drop down on, but when it comes to myself, yes, we do need to find a wife for me. We do need to find a relationship for me. We do need to find something for me that's worth it. And also, please, and I also want to add in this that I hope the person is a female. I mean, biologically, anatomy-wise, you know, that kind of thing.
We need a resume. The qualifications are this. You must be paranormal. You must believe in transgenders. You must believe in some kind of paranormal or whatnot. because this is what Wade does. This is all he does. And this is pretty much what your life is going to be. So, with that being said, he's taking resumes.
And if you want to send in your picture, I want you to wake up. I want you to wake up in the middle of the night, having that 3 a.m. bathroom break, and take a picture of yourself. I don't want you made up in makeup, fancy this, fancy that. Don't send me pictures of you in your underwear like these damn people do on Facebook all the time. I don't need to see it. It doesn't interest me. Okay. If I want to see, okay, what these people are sending me, I'll go in the bathroom and look in the mirror. I got the same stuff they do.
But hey, if you have a tail, please send us a picture of your tail. He wants to see that.
A tail.
A tail. Yes. There are people out there who have tails. Did you know this?
Well, I know of a girl named Rebecca who has a tail.
Over in Malaysia, weird phenomena over in Malaysia right now. Children are being born with tails. This is another sign, apparently, that evil is more prominent, or is more evident to us now, because we have children growing tails in Malaysia, or born with tails in Malaysia. So definitely interested. We'd like to see something like that. So if you got that going on, please share.
Let me interrupt this conversation. Are you talking about an actual tail, or are you just talking about a long piece of skin that was used as a birth defect?
No, it's like a tail. Like sheep, like no tail, like I guess the tailbone is not, I guess that we have tails, right, when we're in the uterus, right? And I guess what's happening is through quote unquote evolution, we lost that tail. Well, apparently they're saying evolution is reversing, because now they're having an influx of these children that are born with their tails.
Can we please use words like English words? I have no idea what you meant by uterus or that other word you used.
Please,
anyway,
no.
Wade needs a wife. Wade needs a wife. So if you have any strange deformities like that, though, that's definitely something he'd like to see.
You do realize that I spent my whole entire life in a circus and sideshow, and I've seen this stuff before.
Yes.
I've you know, it's nothing unusual to see a short person or somebody with a tail.
What about a beard?
A beard? Is that what you just said? The guy on the board over here, a beard? I do not want a woman with a beard.
That's common.
No. It's not.
Wade. It tickles Wade.
No, I'm not having a woman with a beard. The guy on the board right now is laughing so hard that food is falling out of his mouth as he's shoveling it into his mouth. You know, you could stop, why don't you stop eating while you're laughing? You're putting food into your mouth, and then it's just falling right back out, and then you're putting it back in your mouth. Unbelievable. You should see this guy. I could make videos of you eating right now. It's absolutely horrible.
What about a Siamese twin?
A Siamese twin? I don't... Well, isn't there a girl back a while back who was born with two heads? Well, it's two people. Two heads, and one of them did try to get married, and they didn't know how to do it because it's one body, two heads type deal?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. One body, two heads?
Yes, one body, two heads. And when they were in school, because they have two heads and two different personalities, they had to treat them as in two different individuals.
Yeah, there was such a thing.
And unlucky for me, I live in New York State, where a lot of our rules are a little off. And
Brittany Hensel.
Who?
Born March 7th, 1990. I think that's who you're talking about. Let me see. Abby and Brittany Hensel.
Yeah. It was an interesting, as far as biology and paranormal and all that kind of stuff, what happened. But in a way, I feel sorry for them because they're going to have to face things that I could never imagine facing. I mean, imagine if one of them gets married. Like Aang and Chang, the Siamese twins, who Siamese twins, they named them Siamese twins, based after these Oriental gentlemen who were attached by a piece of, later to find out that it was a piece of fat that connected their ribs together. Okay? People that are connected. There were also two women who are connected by the head. And legally, if they're two different people and one gets married, I don't know if I could deal with that or not. I don't know if I could live with that.
You'd have to be a foursome.
Well, I'm just saying that it's weird. Maybe one of these people can come on our show, folks. Maybe if you're listening out there in YouTube land or iVlog TV land, you can come on our show and let us know about your lifestyle. I think it would be very interesting to know about this stuff. Now, what's the problem over there? Is the iVlog chat room doing something? Did you mess up the mixer over there? You keep raising your hand like you're frantically trying to tell me something over there.
There's no activity.
Did you spill the soda all over the computer again like you did last time?
All I gotta say is you got too much information going on over there. I think we just ought to keep rolling.
Okay, we are. All right, our number is 607-238-3816. You can call us. It's a great new number system over here, by the way, folks. It's not like the number system we had before. And it works this time, by the way. And I have the phone right here, as is, ready to go. We don't necessarily screen our calls. I would hope so at some point in time. We might screen our calls if we have a guest. I would hope that we would screen our calls if they needed to be screened in them. That's the way it is with this phone system here. Just on a low, I'm trying to see what the people are saying in the iVlog chat room. I was trying to follow a little bit along with it.
There's no activity right now.
Well, sometimes we have people asking questions and interacting with us.
Correct.
Oh shoot! You know what?
What?
Just disconnected me.
It just disconnected you.
Disconnected me. Yeah.
What's wrong with being disconnected?
There we go. Here we go. There we are. Okay. There's no activity. I'm not seeing any. I see no one in here now. What happened?
They probably all left. They probably got tired. Maybe the helicopters frightened everybody and they left.
Okay, media. Hi, Ruth. Hello, Ruth. Well?
Yeah, I'm still here. I don't see that the room is empty. I see a lot of people in our room tonight. What do we got? We got 16. It says 16 on our side.
I'm not showing that.
Well, yeah. Well, we have a statistics things I can click on here. I think the top was 24 people. I'm not sure. iVlog does it a little bit differently. It does it a little bit oddly here. I know earlier when we were playing around with the iVlog system, trying to get it up and ready and everything as we do, some people popped in and popped out. I would, maybe they have returned. We have a few guests in our chat room today. Hello. Welcome to our show. And if you're listening to this in an archive on YouTube or somewhere, we have an iVlog TV chat room up on iVlog TV that you can talk to us. You can see the show as it's happening live ready right here as we're doing the show. If you're listening to us in the archives, I have a website, www.brotherwade.com. We have the Thrifty Witchery on Facebook. We have a contest going on. You can win a few things. Get involved with our show. Get involved with our programming. We would love to have you. We're going to strive to make this a weekly thing, maybe even a daily thing if we can get enough viewers and get enough guests and everything in there. We may be rearranging it a little during the week when we don't have a board man here with us. But the phone lines are open, 607-238-3816. And don't forget to share the show on your Facebook, your Twitter. Don't forget to let your friends know. Matter of fact, why don't you pick up the phone right now and give a friend a call and let them know we're here. We'd love to hear from them. We would love to see them. We would love for them to know what we're doing. It's a little quiet in our chat room right now. It's a little quiet everywhere. Earlier today we had fireworks booming and banging. It is 4th of July again. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Or whatever holiday you're celebrating. We have listeners in the UK. We have listeners in Canada. We have other areas that we have listeners in. We have listeners all over the United States. It's a great program. And we're coming up on our second break. The number here is 607-238-3816. The website's www.brotherwade.com. We'll be right back right after this. And we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to feature music, independent artist, or you know an independent artist or a musician or songwriter, let us know. We would love to feature your music on this program. If you own a small business, or if you have a business and you want to get the word out about your business, we are a great way to do advertising. We have 3 different venues we do advertising. We have many packages for you. And we work with you to make sure that your business gets to every one of our listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program. The number is 607-238-3816. We have an iVlogTV.com chat room up. It is a lively chat room tonight. Wonderful chat room. Wonderful to see everyone back here. It is great to be back with our iVlog TV audience. We always love it when you join us. We have Mysti here with us as well. More helicopters flying over there, Mysti.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, you do realize that talking in my program, I don't know if some of our iVlog TV chat room viewers remembered our shows going down when we discussed UFOs and aliens. People driving by the house. It was something that happened. It was something that would happen regularly. It was something that would mystify people. It was something that would disturb people. It was something that was a little odd. And I can't say it any better than that, really. It was odd. And not only was it odd that these shows would be shut down, not only was it odd that our programming would be interrupted, but it would be something of a regular, peculiar way of doing things. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't have anything to do with the programming system. It didn't have anything to do with the network. It didn't have anything to do with maybe the system that we were on at the time. But it just happens. It just goes in there and it does happen. So, folks, these helicopters that are flying over Mysti's house could in fact be real helicopters spying. Now, I'm not one of these conspiracyist people that think this happens.
I think so, because now you just really engaged my paranoia. So, thanks, Wade.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. I love engaging people. It's great. But I'm going to tell you, folks, I'm going to give you a warning. These helicopters don't always watch you. Ladies, Mysti lives in an area where crime is not, the lowest. It could be a police helicopter, news helicopter. Helicopters fly over here all the time for emergency situations. People that need to have medical assistance. I don't know if people are nuts. I don't know if people are crazy. I don't know if I am one of these high anxiety type people. But when things happen, when we talk about subjects like aliens or visitations or UFOs, or I tell you the truth about certain stuff. Earlier today I was talking about Area 51 and a helicopter flew over her house. Now let's put 2 to 2 together and make 4, folks. Okay, I realize some of you like to make 6, but we're just going to live with the 2 and 2 makes the 4. I don't know. It's something to talk about. Why not call us in and tell us your tale of a helicopter flying over? Maybe you have a story of some conspiracy that's going on, folks. Call us. 607-238-3816 is the number. The lines are up. The lines are here. I don't know what's going on with everything about the phones, but they are here and they're ready to go. And I don't know what the guy at the board is doing over there, just knocking over 2 of the plugs, and all of the laundry money just went flying around over there, folks. Remember, I do this out of my own home studio. We are trying to combine our efforts to make an improved studio. Please note, the management office puts demands on us now. But that's okay, because we have a bigger and better show than the person next door. It's always that way. It's always been that way. It always will be that way. This show is great. I'm thankful for the producers. I'm thankful for the audience.
Okay, Wade, you have me paranoid.
I have you paranoid. Paranoid as in what? What kind of paranoia are you facing?
There's another helicopter coming over my house.
Good job, Wade. You scared the hell out of her.
Another helicopter flying over your house.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it just went, okay, it's gone now. We'll see if it comes back.
Are you cereal, the Fruit Loop kind of cereal, or the Corn Flakes kind of cereal right now about these helicopters?
Yeah. I was serious about this. That's probably like the 3rd time. I don't know if it's circling or what it's doing, but I see other people posting about it too, asking if there's a fire, and there's no fire. But why is this helicopter circling? I'm not saying anything.
What I want you to do is I want you to get a flashlight and I want you to go up and shine it right at the pilot. Just shine that thing right up there at the pilot. Go on. You're live right now on our program. Walk outside of your house live and look around for this helicopter. If anything happens, we'll get it live on our program. Don't worry. People will know that something happened to you live. It's that way, folks. We got helicopters flying over our house. This is what we do to put on this show for you, folks. We risk our own lives being spied on by whatever it is. I really don't believe the government. I believe in third-party people.
Let me tell you what has happened at my house. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story. I was upstairs. My boyfriend always falls asleep on the couch, so he was downstairs on the couch. He wakes up, and there is this bright, iridescent blue, but iridescent at the same time, I guess, light on the wall. there is no source for this light to be on the wall. And he said it was the weirdest thing, and then all of a sudden it was gone. He looked out there. It didn't make any sense. Well, in that same week, there was about, what we want to say, two UFO sightings here where we are, and I'm on the mountains of the West Coast in Southern California. So we had this series of events. I remember one person told me it felt like something had hit the side of their house. And it was really peculiar because after that you have people who took pictures of these strange lights in the sky. So I think there is something going on here. I think there is definitely something. We are too close to Area 51. We are too close to the military base. You know, I am suspicious. I think that there is something going on in this area, and I can't really put my finger on it, but I've talked to a lot of people who are going through these weird experiences. And to this day, when my boyfriend told me about it, he's like, I looked outside to see where this light's coming from. He's like, he couldn't figure it out, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. I'm telling you, there is some weird, I don't know what kind of voodoo that is, but it is weird. And it's happening up here in these mountains. A lot of peculiar things up in the sky, for sure.
Now, I don't know why you're so paranoid.
What? I'm just telling you what's going on. Now, I'm not paranoid. Except that I know what. I know it happens to people who know things. So, maybe we shouldn't just know so much.
I don't know. I've heard of a lot of stories about your area. Now, Area 51 was a research facility. I don't believe the government's there at all, and I don't think the government has to tell us what's going on. I believe that second, third, fourth party people are doing it. I believe that they contract out is the word for it. They contract out for other companies. And I don't, Area 51 Security is a third, fourth party company that provides security for them. I've applied at the same company they use in my own area, and they do hospitals, they do doctors, they do government complexes, and people just get all paranoid and funny about it.
Like Halliburton. A contractor like Halliburton. Halliburton's real big in the conspiracy world. Supposedly with the FEMA conspiracy, Halliburton trucks are the ones delivering all those weird coffins and whatnot, all these government agencies contract out. I don't think that's where the paranoia is. I think the paranoia comes from, like, what is going on that it needs to be such a big secret.
Well, see, Halliburton is something different.
I have my own experiences with weirdness, but I'm just kind of like,
Halliburton's something different now. If you want to talk about Halliburton or COS something or other, COS something, we see these organizations do this, like FEMA and the other one, the ITO something or other was the thing on the railroad. And I've seen this railroad thing. I've seen what they want. They're white vehicles, or they're a beige or brown vehicle. Some of them are, I've never seen the tanks, but I've seen the other military type road vehicles on the train. And I'll tell you right now, it's not something suspicious. What they do is, stuff happens in war, folks. Machines go down, engines go down, trucks go down, things break, things are ruined. It's just like a car dealership here. They get a shipment of new stuff in. And how are you going to take military equipment? You're going to put it on a train, and you're going to send a whole shipment to wherever it's going. It's going to Virginia, going to Florida, Texas, California, Nevada. We see stuff up in the state of Washington. We see stuff up here in New York, up in Maine, in Connecticut. A lot of the Navy goes to Connecticut. A lot of the military is in Texas. It's in Maryland. Okay, we see these trains. They're not conspiracies. They're not kind of take us over. The UN is not going to come and take us in our families and do all this stuff. On the other hand, we have the government who has to protect us. The government has to protect us from weirdos, psychos, crazy people. And we're not talking crazy like, me. We're talking crazy that are worse than me, and worse than anything you ever saw out there. There are people out there that honestly are on watch lists. You go to the airport and you hear about these stupid watch lists. No, we know people that are on the watch list. We see them. We see them all the time out in public, and we don't even know it. They're dangerous people. And the facilities, the governments, the local municipalities, the real, the big government in Washington, so to speak, they have to protect us. Now, is the protection warranted? Can I protect myself in my own house? Yes. Am I against guns? Guns don't kill people. It's the bullet it does, folks. Am I against guns and all this other stuff? Yes. Am I against using swords or other type of defenses? No. I believe the average person should carry a small wooden stick in their pocket, just enough to fit in their pocket for protection. I believe carrying a knife is okay for protection. But you gotta have a good head on your damn neck. You gotta have a head that's screwed on tight. The bolts ain't gonna come off, and you can't look like Frankenstein with a bunch of unscrewed bolts on the side of your head. I'm getting off a little topic of the paranormal here. But folks, you got to realize that there are some people out there that are just up and beyond this. They're into this zombie stuff. I've talked about this zombie stuff numerous times. I've talked about this zombie phenomena that we have out here, that something's going to happen, the government, something biohazard is going to go over here, and this is going to happen over here, and aliens are going to do this over here. It's almost nonsense. Do I believe in zombies? Yes, I do. Do I believe a medical disease, a medical problem could cause an outbreak of something? Absolutely. We saw it in the 70s and 80s with AIDS. We saw it in the late 90s and still going on today with cancer.
Yeah, you think so? People are walking around. This zombie thing, right? So I grasp it a little bit, but do you really think that it's the way people think it is? They're zombies. They're going to be walking around with this disease. They don't know they're zombies. They become cannibalistic, but they have some sort of consciousness. You believe in it in that term, or explain it a little to me. I want to know because I know it's a big thing. But what exactly is your take on zombies? Do you think it is? Because, all we have is an image of Hollywood, and that's what everyone thinks a zombie invasion is going to be, and The Walking Dead and whatnot. Do you really think that it's going to be like that there's going to be like walking corpses with consciousness? Some sort of consciousness. So the only consciousness is that they want blood? I mean, how do you...
I believe that something could happen. I believe that something medically could happen. There are 3 diseases out there right now. One of them I can't even pronounce. B-I something. Another one is an animal disease. It's a compound of medical compounds like hoof and mouth disease or mad cow disease, but it keeps the animal alive, and their brain dies and the body still goes on. And it can be transpired into humans. There's several diseases right now, and there's several type, like ringworm, there's the fluke, there's other parasitic type things that could take over our bodies. And they are medical things. When you get into the science fiction of this zombie, it used to be that zombies are going to come over and eat your brain. Why do they need to eat your brain? Because they need to feed off your intelligence and your knowledge to stay alive. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that something like that could happen. I believe it's Hollywood.
That's almost magical, right?
Well, we're talking We're talking about magic, if you want to say magic, as in somebody makes a potion. Somebody makes some kind of salve.
Being a zombie and eating the brain of a person to suck up their intelligence is almost kind of like that's silly. You know, that's silly. So when you talk about a zombie being, you know, it could happen, but where would this level of intelligence be? You'd have this disease that literally deteriorates this living thing, but the brain is preserved, or I don't understand exactly how people will believe in zombies. I believe in disease, but on the intelligence side, this cautious creature walking around knowing that it needs to eat other people, but it doesn't know it's a zombie. I just don't know how a level of intelligence could happen if the body is deteriorating in such a way. So where does this walking zombies come from? Like, how are they walking? To me, it doesn't scientifically make sense, since the body can only take so much before it shuts itself down anyway. And that has nothing to do with the state of consciousness, you know? So I'm just wondering, how would that be? Who believe in zombies, and I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, I'm just wondering how it could happen. Or what would it really be like versus Hollywood? You know?
Well, what I'm saying is this. I don't believe that, like, in the movie Thriller, we're going to have people digging out of their graves walking around. No, that can't happen. Okay? It can happen if somebody has prepared a person or body enough to be in a kind of tranestatic state where their body is put to sleep, their body is put in paralysis, their body is put in an suspended animational sequencing, okay? We have medicine, we have medical compounds, we have all sorts of stuff that can do this. But, consciously speaking, the only thing that's going to make our body deteriorate is flesh-eating disease, see, I can't say these things. But there's 3 different diseases out there that are bacterial, virus-like things that can harm us. And these things are not just zombie stuff. We're not just talking a zombie comes in here and our skin deteriorates and everything else.
Right, you're talking about an outbreak, which we know, you know, even before the age of conspiracy theories and whatnot, again, it's the way of life. Outbreaks happen, epidemics happen every, what they say. There's pandemic and epidemic. Epidemics what happen every 5 years. Like, when you have flu epidemic, great. And when you have a real bad epidemic, every flu season is an epidemic. The pandemic, which is on the wider scale, like a plague, or like we saw in Africa with HIV. What is that, every 100 years? Every 100 years? So we are, something like that, but we are due. We are definitely due for something like that. There's no doubt. What is it going to be? Is it going to be zombies? I hope not, but I don't know. But we're definitely due for one. And it's going to do something to us. Evolutionary-wise, it probably will do something to us. You know, there's a lot of new strains of things. And you know, with all the meteors that hit the Earth, meteors bring pathogens. Earthquakes bring pathogens. Earthquakes especially, if we get hit, I know if California gets hit with a giant earthquake, I remember there was one that hit in LA, and it had released some sickness into the air just from the dirt moving. It released pathogens, and communities in Los Angeles got deathly ill, and they had to make quarantine sites for them because they didn't know where this illness came from. And what had happened was it came from the earthquake released the disease from the dirt. So, you know, with all this new global warming and the change of the weather systems and stuff like that, new things are starting to surface as far as disease, bacteria, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, it's inevitable that something like that is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be zombies. I don't. I think it's going to be a sickness, but I just can't see the Walking Dead running around eating people. I don't think that's going to happen. But some people do. Some people do. And some people take it really seriously. You know, they actually have their zombie gear, and they actually have these weapons to combat zombies. You know, a lot of people really believe that that's what's going to happen. So I'd like to know somebody's perspective, you know.
I don't think what we have is zombies as in the Hollywood zombie. I think the zombie, it came from New Orleans, Louisiana. It came from the Alabama area, the Georgia area, Florida area, the South, Texas even. And it came from the term zombie, zombification of voodoo, but I don't believe it was voodoo necessarily as in other witchcraft practices, where you make somebody in a state of inanimation, okay, meaning they're done, they're not going to do anything, through medical or food. The puffer fish is one of those ingredients, the toxins in it, for purposes of enslavement. It moved into some other thing by way of the movies. Look at the vampires. The true vampire in Bram Stoker's Dracula did not die from being in the sun. It died from virgin blood. Okay? The werewolf theory. Personally, if you take a silver bullet and shoot somebody in the chest with it in the heart, anybody's going to die from... I don't care if you made the bullet out of plastic, you melted one of your G.I. Joe guys down and made a bullet out of it and shot somebody in the chest with it in the heart, okay? If you think common sense-wise, put a stake through somebody's heart, okay? This stuff is nonsense. It's silly. But the stuff behind it, people have in, the Bible speaks of angels, fallen angels, drinking blood so they can take the blood and the life that we have and make themselves giants. Okay? We have zombies as in creatures that have come back to life. People don't want to die. People don't like the thought of their relatives passing or figures passing or important stuff happening to people. So they want to know what happens after death, coming back to life, the risen, and these role-playing games. They have, in Dungeons & Dragons, ghouls, okay? These are creatures that have come back to life. Reverends. Reverend is a large title, okay? It is somebody that has come back to life to get a wrongdoer, somebody that's killed them, somebody that's harmed their family, somebody that caused them to be in the predicament they're in. Okay? This stuff is all fantasy. It's an illusion. It could exist. Yes, there's been people that have said to come back from the dead. Ghost stories, stories of zombies, stories of people, stories of countless number of stories of revenge from the grave. But I think personally a zombie thing is going to be medical. It's not going to be anything other than that. Now, I don't think it's going to be, it may not be a disease. It may be a form. The flu is a virus. It is not a disease. It is not a compound structure. It is an intelligent life form taking over our bodies and making us sick. Okay? You have germs. You have bacteria. You have hookworms that live inside your body that eat your body. You have worms or parasitic type creatures that can crawl into your brain and start making you do crazy stuff. Now, what happens if, like Misty just stated, an earthquake happens and this stuff gets out because they're under a quarantine? The building cracks in half, stuff dumps out, and it starts multiplying. And it starts doing what it naturally does, which is take over another person, meaning it finds a host. Okay? Yes, this very well could be a plague. Okay? Bubonic plague back in the days was caused by rat fleas. It was more than that. They thought zombies come. They thought it was the end of the world. They have now found that it was a bacterial virus disease type functioning bacteria, mold, and all this other stuff is related to it. They didn't know that then. So they came up with death and skeletons walking, people walking around with their arms off their bodies because their arms fell off their bodies. Could somebody do that? Could it happen? Absolutely. But I don't believe this Hollywood image of ghouls, zombies, and reverends are going to come back to life. Okay? Could something make our bodies and take it over as a host? Absolutely. Could worms or bugs or a virus-type intelligent life form, because that's what a virus is, a germ, a virus, is an intelligent life form that is living in another environment other than our own. One of the reasons why I say space could hold thousands of life forms. We forget diseases, we forget germs, we forget parasites, we forget things that live in sewers. Did you ever watch the X-Files? They had one that's called Fluke. It is a big worm about 15 inches that lives in your intestines and eats your crap out of your intestines, basically. Your human waste. Your shit, your poop, whatever you want to call it, folks. And it mutated into something bigger and better. Okay? Stuff exists like this all the time. We have worms and maggot type flies that never turn into flies. They turn into gray, oozy type worm looking things, and they live on dead skin. And they make your body all wrinkled and your skin falls off, and it turns into a serious medical problem. Okay? That's what these things are with zombies. Now, do I believe that science knows this? Absolutely. Do I believe they hide it? Yes. Right now in your body, it is estimated that 200 type other intelligent life forms, germs, bacteria, viruses, live inside of you right now. Okay? Folks listening to my voice right now, wherever you are, YouTube, if you're in our iVlog Tot Room Live, you're listening to my voice, you're hearing this, there are about 200, 250, 270, up to 300 other life forms living in your body right now. You're not dead, your skin's not falling off, you're not sick, maybe you got a little drainy nose code, okay? Your body naturally does this. Your dog, your cat, go up to your cat and feel its nose. It's wet, it's gooey, it's nasty, it's got a cold. What do you think made out of, oh, it's a virus. What do you think a virus is? It's a natural, intelligent life form living inside something else. And the environment cannot be lived anywhere else. It has to have a temperature of 90 degrees to live. People aren't going to tell you that. What's our body temperature? 98. Perfect. Could it live right now outside this body in this heat? Yes. This sweltering heat? Yes. I could name other things. Poor Mysti here is never going to go in her bathroom ever again. Go into your bathroom and look at the yellow stuff that's behind your toilet. It is a mold. It is an intelligent life, breeding life form. It is mating and having sex with itself to make more of itself. There's two things in this world that they acknowledge animals of intelligence. If it can reproduce itself and make itself more of itself as a community. And secondly, if it knows itself exists. Does it know it exists? Yes, because when you start spraying cleaner stuff, it starts spinning out and going under your toilet. So it knows itself. The third thing of intelligence is its own preservation. So now it's preserving itself by living in that one area, knowing it's going to grow and do stuff. The three things of intelligence. Then we go into survival. Does it know it? Does it have a production system? Does it have a compound system so it can communicate with other stuff? We don't know. but it's intelligent life, and it's living in your bathroom. And you get that, you touch it with your hands, you stick your finger in your nose to pick your damn nose while taking a crap on the toilet, and you just stuck it up inside your nose. And now it's living in your body at a temperature of 90 degrees. Guess what, folks? You're carrying around the alien life forms in your body everywhere you go. Get on the regular city bus. Get in the subway. Get in the taxi cab. And you'll be introduced to more intelligent life forms living inside your body. Could this stuff cause a zombie, a dual, a reverend, a outbreak of something? Absolutely. And I believe it could happen. And I believe it's happening now. I bet you if you went to the big cities, L.A., Dallas, Texas, New York City, Orlando, Miami, Washington, D.C., they got subways, they got big sewers. Let's go to Cincinnati, Ohio is a big city. Chicago, Illinois is a big city, folks. They probably have in their sewers and in their low income areas, I don't want to say poor areas, okay? I don't want to make fun of somebody, but you know what I'm talking about, folks. There's probably these things living all the time. There could be zombies wandering around in the sewers of New York City in some abandoned subway somewhere because something has taken somebody's body over. Somebody dies, they pass away, quote unquote, he passed away in the sewer. Well, something crawls inside of them, some intelligent germ or life form is inside that body and it takes it over. Absolutely. But no, to answer Misty's question, I don't believe somebody's going to come back from the dead, crawl out of their grave, wander down the street, eat brains, and live. I just don't think it could happen. I mean, I could be wrong, but based on my own knowledge of the paranormal and knowledge of medical and science, people don't realize that the paranormal field is made up of science. I don't believe it could happen. Could we stop it? Could we have anything to do changing our ways of life to prevent something from happening? Absolutely. I believe not too long ago, I think it was 2 years ago, the Black Plague was found again. The germ or whatever caused it was found again. Polio was found again in some countries. These are diseases that we have mastered to get rid of. That we have gotten to the point where they're no longer good. And yes, folks, you just heard a fire truck fly by us. Okay? Which is pretty weird. Talking about what we're talking about right now. Ambulances and a fire truck go by. Talk about weird timing, folks. But yeah, I believe these things could happen. And I believe it happens now. What can prevent this, folks? You're asking, well, what can stop these diseases? I don't know. As a child, I'd play outside all day, stick dirt in my mouth and everything else, and go down to the garbage, pick the garbage, and make backyard wrestling rings out of the stuff we found in the garbage, pick through the garbage and find toys and everything else. I remember taking stuff out when people moved out and dumping stuff on the ground, taking it home to our parents, washing it off, and playing with it outside, or just playing with it outside, till our parents saw us and told us to bring the toy in and wash it off. I'm still here. Kids today can't get off their cell phone long enough to play with a wrestling figure they buy at Walmart, let alone dig in the garbage for a He-Man figure. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with today's generation. It's just the way it is. In today's generation, no, diseases are not the same either. They're just not the same. The diseases now are communicatable diseases, community-type diseases, because everybody's in one place, sitting there blowing their noses on their own hands, sneezing and everything, playing with their phones. And I'd scare you to death if I tell you what's on your phone. Just on the surface of your cell phone alone, there's probably 15 diseases that could cause sickness. Oh, well, I just put my phone on a seat next to me in a public transit bus or subway. Then I picked it up and played with my fingers, wiped my nose twice while I'm playing with the screen. No wonder you're sick, pal. But there's nothing you're going to do about it. Because I'll tell you what, that antibacterial stuff that you're putting all over yourself is killing one germ while others are thriving eating that stuff. They thrive on eating the bacterial stuff that you just put on your hands. So now this other germ is on your hands. And it's been like this since the creation of man, since God made man and beast of the field and the sky, germs and dirt, other intelligent life forms that I've discussed happen and are here and living with us right now. So, folks, if you have any common sense, look at the table in front of you, look at the couch next to you, look at your own laptop screen, and wave at it for a few minutes because there's intelligent life forms crawling all over it. And it's another example, if you want to go back to the conversation we had earlier about the fact that we may not be visited because we're not going to treat them nicely. We're not going to treat them with respect because of the simple fact we can't even treat germs and bugs and insects and stuff that live with us all over the place with respect. It's just something, it's a part of life that we have to deal with. We have to deal with it. We have to go along with it. We have to do it. We have to form it. We have to live with it. And we have to be gracious and content with it. Does that kind of answer your question in a nutshell there, Misty?
Sure. No. I get exactly what you're saying, and I just, especially living in Southern California, let me tell you something, it's become a fad. Everybody kind of wants to see it happen, which is really disturbing. I guess it's a way of conditioning people to kind of look at it as fun and games, but I believe you're right. I believe it's going to be a nasty pandemic. Probably another plague, I would think, but definitely not what we see in Hollywood. And I think a lot of people actually think that that's what's going to be. And like I said, I know some people out here who, in Southern California, especially Orange County, who take this very seriously, and they really believe that we're going to have The Walking Dead amongst us. And I find it very interesting. As long as it's that way, they're going to accept it, and everyone's going to go to war, and we're all going to zombie slay, right? But no, I don't think it's going to be like that. So, although as interesting as it would be, I think we'd have a better chance of survival if it was that way. But I just don't see it. I don't think it's going to be like that. So.
I don't think anything in Hollywood is going to be like it is. And I don't think Hollywood cares to show us the truth.
Remember Total Recall? You remember Total Recall? Those x-ray machines that they walk through? Okay, so back in the early 80s, you're watching this and going, oh my gosh, that is so modern. We never thought we would see the day, and that's now what we're seeing we're now seeing it. I believe that Hollywood in itself, and I guess this is getting into Illuminati stuff, I guess, but I do believe Hollywood itself is the powers that be. It's their way of kind of conditioning us. So when these things do present themselves, however they do, for some reason they think that it's going to be easier for us to accept. But you've seen a lot of Hollywood prophecy. You've seen much Hollywood prophecy come to light. So in a sense, when new things come out and I see these things, I kind of pay attention because we've seen a lot of things come to surface, and it's really weird. We call it the Hollywood prophecy in my business. Coincidence? I don't know. But I don't know. I pay attention to Hollywood because a lot of things have surfaced. You gotta admit, and it is kind of weird. So I happen to think that that's just a tool that they use to kind of slowly, like aliens, we had War of the Worlds, right? Like if something slowly getting us used to the idea. Is it going to make it easier for us? No. But I think in some way they do kind of let us know that these things are coming. I think we do have somewhat of a warning. It's not mainstream warning, maybe more of a subconscious warning, you know, but I don't know. I pay close attention to Hollywood when they come out with that stuff, so.
Well, another thing about Hollywood is they're out there to make money. If they knew that they could tell a story about, and they did this, about little Smurfs living in the grass, casting spells on each other, they would do it. If they knew that they could make a story about little bunnies jumping around and turn into terrible, terrible things and attack you, not relating to any movie we're all, know about here, they would do it. And Hollywood's job is to do that. Their job is to entertain us.
I don't think it's everything that Hollywood puts out, but I definitely think that there are some things that Hollywood puts out, because Hollywood is predominantly owned by who? Do any of our listeners know who owns a big chunk of the Hollywood market right now? The Jews do. Okay, you go down to LA and there's tons and tons and tons of Jewish influence down there. The Jewish has a lot more influence in Hollywood than I think a lot of people understand. And it's kind of the norm for us. Us in Southern California, we understand that, and it's kind of like, yeah, we know. But when it comes to giving prophecy and warnings and stuff like that, I think that Hollywood sometimes does give us some sort of, I guess, prophecy, or they do kind of let us know that these things are coming. I don't know. I just that's how I think it, because I've just watched so many things to see them. They've come to light. They've come to surface. So.
Yeah, I don't know if Hollywood. I don't know if the Jewish people have anything to do with anything down there. I'm not saying they're bad people. I think.
That's not what we're saying, but. What I'm saying is it comes down to this. When it comes down to the conspiracy theories about the Illuminati and the Kabbalah and the secrets in the books that they had, that they used, and when it gets, even Jewish sorcery. There is Jewish sorcery that talks about, the different tactics and antics that they use to inform the public. You read a lot of stuff about this, and it is kind of boring. I guess it is along the line of conspiracy theories, but with all the news, I just don't exactly know how to put it, I guess. You have a group of people with heavy religious, beginning of time religion kind of thing, influencing Hollywood, who preach the Armageddon and the end of the world, who are the ones that tell us the end of the world are coming with their hand in the pot. So naturally, I think they would use that tool to kind of forego their initiative, in other words, So yeah, I think that's why Hollywood does put out a lot of this stuff, is to kind of condition us to where it becomes more accepted. You see it with aliens. Aliens is the biggest thing that I can make an example of. Because I guess I don't know. I think it's just another tool of the powers that be, and if you look at who's controlling it, it makes a lot of sense, because it goes in line with their beliefs and their initiatives and where they want to see the world go to, the whole New World Order thing and all that. I just think it's another tool. So when you're talking about Hollywood, talking about zombies, I definitely think it's a prophecy of a pandemic. I think it's a prophecy of a pandemic, and I think that probably in the next 20 years we're going to see it.
I think we're seeing it right now in some aspects of our lives.
We're seeing the tip of it, but it's going to kind of build up. It's building right now. The bubble is building, and it's about to burst. first. And I think probably in the next 20 years, we're going to see, I think we're going to see something. And, you know, I think they're just trying to prepare us. I don't know if it's the best they can, but they can't withhold things. I don't know. I remember reading a lot about the way that the powers that be, the Illuminati, the ones in charge, the hierarchy of the world, that they're not necessarily keeping secrets as much as they are revealing to us in a way that we're kind of like nonchalant, almost like a deer in headlights, like, oh, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di. You know, I guess, if you understand what I'm saying, we're not taking it as revelation. We're taking it as entertainment, you know? But that's just one theory, you know? I don't think it's with every single thing they put out, but I think far in between that there are some things that get thrown out via entertainment to kind of let us know something's coming.
Yeah, I believe that we have seen some stuff. We have done some stuff. We've taken out of context what Hollywood is doing. And you mentioned that there's prophecy. And I know it is. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the Truman Show now, that we're living in a big Matrix. The Matrix movie. There was a movie that I forgot the name of it. It starred the wrestler Rowdy Piper in it, and they used sunglasses to see. I think it was The Others or something. These movies are, and like you said, some of the things I've seen in movies when I was a child that are coming true now are absolutely just unbelievable. They're unreal, unbelievable. They're absolutely frightening sometimes when you see something in the movie and then something happens. But I don't believe it's all that way. And like I said, I believe Hollywood is there to entertain us. They're there to make movies. They're there to make money from us being bored. It used to be that way. What movie can I watch on my television because I'm bored at night? What movie can I watch at, Saturday morning cartoons because the kids had to have something to watch? That's all about entertainment. But there is a real fundamental thing that they're doing. Folks, we're coming up on another break. 607-238-3816 is the phone number, www.brotherwade.com. When we come back, we're going to go into the second half of the program, folks. So stay tuned. Don't go away. Don't go anywhere. And we'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. And it's the second half of the program, folks. The number to call, as always, 607-238-3816. And go up on my website, www.brotherwade.com. Check us out on Facebook at the Thrifty Witchery. Ladies and gentlemen, we had an interesting first half of the program. And we're going to do more interesting stuff here in the second half of the program. Our iVlogTV.com chat room is full, folks. It is great to see everybody. And we told you in the first half that we're going to have a little discussion on the second half. And we're going to open it up to discussion for you. What do you want to discuss about? Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people are concerned about this zombie thing. A lot of people are concerned about what I was discussing in the first half of the program. That's okay to be concerned. We have an email here asking us what to do about the zombie plague. What would happen if it happened? Well, to answer that, I guess we would take action. We would have to have medicine. We would have to have quarantines. We would have to have law enforcement. medical staff, emergency preparedness, and all that other stuff we do with any outbreak, any plague, or anything else that happens. But I don't think people should be scared of it. Maybe the first half of the program I scared people. Maybe I made them worried. Maybe I made them panic. Maybe I made them frightened. Maybe I made them so they're unnerving. Maybe I made them so they're distressed, and I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to shock people. I didn't mean to focus on a topic that would make you uneasy on this program. But that's what happens on this program. We discuss all topics. We discuss everything. We discuss what's going on. And it's a fact of life that we have these things happening. We have disease. We have viruses. We have germs. As I stated, we have alien life forms that are already here living in us, living around us. Worlds of these things. These things make worlds. They make their own lifestyle. They make their own environments. It's just a fact of life, and we go about it every day not even thinking about it until I, your wonderful host, decides to mention it to you. It's fascinating how I mention something and everybody gets all up out of shape when it's been going on for years since mankind was made, since God made mankind. The number to call again, folks, 607-238-3816. It's unbelievable the support we're getting for this show. Mysti will be back in a little while here, joining me. And, you know, it's fascinating to find all my fans that I once had. All the fans that we once did, and all the fans that we had, and everybody that we knew, and everybody that was great. And Mysti now comes on and joins us. Live here on the program. It's fascinating, like I was saying, of all the support we're getting for a topic of diseases. I don't understand it sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to understand it sometimes. I oftentimes, you know, are you there with us, Mysti? She there, or did I lose her again? Okay, I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can still barely hear you. Let me try it on the computer rather than the phone. Folks, we always have this little thing. If anybody knows how these things work, let us know any better than what we're doing, because it would be a great help. We're trying to call her on my actual computer rather than the phone, because the phone keeps cutting out. I believe the computer might be better. And here she is as the phone begins to ring. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me a lot better?
Yes,
It's a lot better?
yes. Can you hear me a lot better?
No, almost, I guess. Hang on, let me see if this is better. All right, try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think I can hear you a lot better. Go ahead.
Okay, good. What were we discussing now?
Well, I was just telling people we got an email here that I scared somebody.
Okay, how did we scare somebody?
We scared them by talking about what we normally talk about, I suppose.
No, you didn't. You scared me.
You know. But the germs and the other stuff of the plagues and stuff.
Well, you know, and the thing is it comes back to what we were talking about, how there are some people who are able to hear this information and form their own opinions on it, and then there are others who this is very scary. It is scary, and it's hard for them to even think that this is a reality. just to accept death, two, just to accept what's happening to our species as a whole, you know?
Yeah.
What does the atheist do? He doesn't believe in anything, and then all of a sudden there's something that, ooh, I didn't believe in this, but here it is. How does one evolve with something like that?
I don't know how to say it does.
Right. And so now you have this in your face, you know, that's where people like us come to play, Wade. We realize it's there. There is a whole community of a lot of us that realize what's going on, whether we're magic people, whether we're shaman, whether we're investigators, whether we're religious leaders. There is a very huge group of people who realize this is coming and can preach all day long. How do we prepare for this? How do we prepare for this? But really, we are the ones that people are going to start turning to. You know?
Well,
We're the ones that they're going to come to and be like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And we can, you know, we'll be like, oh, we've been telling you about this. But, I mean, we are the ones that ultimately are going to be the ones to help them cross over to whatever is coming, whether it's death, whether it's, like, the apocalypse, whether it's, you know, who knows? But we're going to be the ones that were speaking about this decades before it happened, and now we're going to be the ones that they're going to come to. We're going to be the ones that they're going to seek some kind of probably solace with, you know.
Yeah.
Are we as workers and investigators are we prepared, you know, for that in that sense? I know I'm not. I know I'm not.
Well,
you know?
I don't know if it's a preparedness, but I know it's a fact of life in the paranormal community that I've been in 16 years. And I've been in it all my life, to be honest. My whole story, by the way, if you want to go up there and find out how I got into this, it's up there on my website, www.brotherwade.com. And my whole 16-year career has been helping people with something they don't understand, something they don't want to face, something they don't want to deal with, something they don't want to have to admit to.
You know, and there's a lot there too that it's not even going to be visible. It's going to actually be like a physical knowledge, something that you might not be able to see, but you can physically feel is there. A lot like when you go into your haunting, you guys might not be able to see anything, and just like us in the crafts or mediums or whatever, but we can just feel it. Well, this is going to be such a heavy thing. You know, there are such heavy things that more people are going to start to feel these things as opposed to seeing it. You know, people are going to be more, receptive inside of their, I guess, their senses.
Yeah, and I also believe that people come to us because there's nobody else to come to. I mean, who is going to come to somebody that can take a demon or a negative spirit and get it out of their home? You can't go to the police. They'll laugh at you and arrest you and lock you in some loony bin. You can't call the fire department so they can hose the damn thing down. You can't go to your family. There's some people that I've seen that can't even tell their own family members that this stuff happens. And then there's these wild fake people. I call them fake and frauds because they're just stupid. They want to come in and they want to do this and they want to do that and they want fame and they want fortune and they want to see how much stuff is good and wonderful. And it makes people like myself, makes people like Ruth, makes people like Suzanne, makes people like Mysti, makes people like Lauren look bad. It makes us look funny. And people are going to stare at me, and they've already done it in my area, and they've done it online. They've done it numerous places. They stare at you. Everybody knows the feeling. They stare at you and say, that person is like what I just saw. Either it be on TV, either it be in person, either it be wherever it is, however it is. And I just don't understand it anymore. But they are the people, like you said, that they're going to come to. I've always said there should be training, there should be certification, commitment to this field. But lately, I've been seeing anybody and everybody popping up saying, look at me, I can run around in the dark and find a ghost. Look at me, I can run around and tell somebody what spirit's behind them. It's getting in, and if we talk about the plague and the virus and the medical community, and like I just discussed, an alien life form living in our bodies and around us that we don't understand, we have to take professionals in the medical field, doctors, nurses. God forbid if you have to go to a dentist. The eye doctor is another one I don't like either, because I don't want to wear glasses. I don't want to admit that, I got to look like a nerd. But, these people we have to trust. We have to put our lives in their hands. We have to form a type of bond with these people. And it's the same thing in the paranormal community. It's the same thing in the other communities. You have to do something, and you have to form a bond, and you have to live life better, and you have to do something about it. And if you can't do anything about it, and you can't form yourself around something, I don't know what to do. I don't know what can be done. I don't know why, people, how people are going to live and manage their lives around this. I just don't understand. And I don't understand why people want to fraud and act stupid and act funny. Why can't they just come to one of us and say, hey, I really want to be an investigator. I really want to be a psychic. But I shouldn't say that, because I said I wanted to be a psychic. I want to help spirits cross over and stuff. I was laughed at. I was kicked out of groups. I was mocked. I still am. People stare at me, point their finger, that guy's a loony. And these businesses are, and I understand you got to work your way up and you got to transform yourself and prove yourself. But some of these people are just downright mean, nasty, and stupid about it. It's unbelievable.
The thing is, they do it for a quick... Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, they do it for like a quick laugh, and then they just feel better. That's all they do.
Well, yeah, the quick laugh. The guy at the board here, Lauren. A quick laugh. You bring up a very good point. A quick laugh, a quick fun. I saw this one on one of our places we went to. The lady went around, and she was legit, and she did an honest job of it, and it was a great thing. She helped, spoke to people's relatives. However, I just felt there was an entertainment value to it. Oh boy, this person is going to do this. Everybody sit down, gather around. We're going to see exciting stuff. When really the topics that she was talking about and the people she was talking to had tragedy in their lives. One girl lost her daughter to a car accident they were in, and stuff like that. That's just that example alone. And somebody's going to fraud that person, or would have if they hadn't chose a real psychic. I just don't know.
What's happening is because, there is a lot in the field, in our field. And again, it comes back to blaming Hollywood for exploiting these practices. They've been so exploited that now it's become a fashion and a fad, and you can pay $150 and get a 5-course tarot class and go and set up shop and talk about I am this, I am that, I am this and that. So it's become a real funny industry, and authenticity is in itself a hard word to break down. There's a lot of people in it just to make money. There's a guy down the hill that I remember I got into it with, runs some paranormal group in San Bernardino. He was offering, he was giving people full detail on what was haunting their house from the back of his PC. Well, divination and clairvoyance is, but honestly, he was charging people $30 just to give them a quick chat room synopsis of what is haunting them in their house without ever stepping foot on the property, looking at all the possible environmental things that could manipulate the activity. And what, smells. One big thing was the smell. How does he just didn't know the land, but he's charging people $35-$40 for consultations on what is haunting their house before even stepping foot. So how do you do that? Well, you being a paranormal investigator know what you know. Our psychics know what they know. You can't give something like that complete accuracy without actually being there and receiving the energy. See, a lot of people don't realize the science that's involved with everything any kind of practitioner does, even a psychic medium. There is a science that has to make sense to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't get it. They think it's just a miracle gift that somebody has, and there's nothing else to it, but they don't understand the depth of it. And that's how you know who a really good medium is, how you know who a good paranormal investigator is, how you know a good, voodoo priest, high priestess, hoodoo practitioner, or Wiccan practitioner. The way you're going to be able to tell if they're good or not is to see how they practice.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to pull the blinds over someone's eyes. And so when people ask me, I'm like, testimonials. Just like you would interview for a job, interview your worker, interview your psychic, interview your investigative team. Because there's a lot of people out there that are just, they don't really know exactly what the science is. And they're just kind of like...
Well, I don't think people have time to do that. I don't think people have time to sit there and question us.
If you want your problem solved, and you want it done right, and you're taking this seriously, you have time to ask these questions. Because if it's a matter between your safety and security at night, and finding the quickest person who just okay, $30, I'll tell you what's in your house, without even knowing their credentials, without knowing, talking to them and really getting in their head and seeing where their morals and ethics is, then you deserve it to be haunted then.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of...
If you're that scared and you're not, and you're willing to get screwed over by somebody in this field, then I don't know what to say. It's all about research your worker, research your psychic, and research, do your own little bit of research so you can see how accurate they are on your property. Go do a title history. Go do transfer history. Go look at tax records. So that way you can test them. You can test their knowledge. A lot of people don't realize that that's what it takes to find somebody who's actually going to be able to help you, versus somebody that's going to make you think they can help you. 2 weeks later, you're hearing bumps in the night again. You know what I mean? So it takes a little work from both ends. And if you want what is going on to be resolved properly, then you're going to take the time. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of people getting done wrong. A lot of people who are desperate, who really, really need help, are being done wrong by these, pop-up paranormal companies. They're up one day, they're down another. Or these pop-up psychics, they're on the corner one day, and next thing you know, they're shut down, they left town. You know what I mean? It's really important to do the research. I just, that's how you avoid that. But there's a lot of it out there. And I would say probably 1 in every 5 has the ability to handle demonic forces, to handle attachments, to handle ancestor or land attachments, to be able to communicate with what's there. It's not something that just anyone can do, and it's not something that a lot of these people were born with it. They didn't go to a class, develop these skills, and all of a sudden the eyes are open. No, most of us were born with some sort of gift to be able to do the work we do.
Yeah.
Or at least discovered it in our early childhood. If, that's what I've seen is most of the people I know have known that they had these gifts from early age. It didn't just come, I'm 36 years old. I took a class, and all of a sudden, I know what a psychic who has had it their whole life knows. That's not possible. It's not possible. So it's a matter of research and talking to psychics like a job interview. And if you're really scared and really need help, then that's not a lot to ask of yourself. Is to be thorough, because there's a lot of people out there who just want to take your money. Because it's an unregulated business. You can charge whatever you want. It's really unregulated, you know. There's no licensing committee to answer to. There's no ethics board. There's no, you know what I mean? So it's really easy to get away with this stuff. So it's really important to do your research so you're not dealing with those shams. You know what I mean?
Well, you see, I've always said, how are you going to license it? I mean, really, Suzanne and Ruth and you, Lauren and myself, how do we go up to somebody and say, here's your license? What, you know, you're going to license somebody on a motorcycle. You're going to watch how they ride, how they turn, how they back, how they handle it. I mean, I don't mind going out there with a clipboard and a fancy blue shirt and giving somebody a road test, so to speak, in this field. But how are you going to do it? How much are you going to charge for these certifications? Who's going to certify somebody? Are we going to take somebody like Ruth and Suzanne and yourself has been in the business for years? Or are you going to take somebody like me and Lauren that have, you know, under 20 years experience in our field and have us do it? Are you going to take somebody like our good friend Mike, who has over 35 years in the field, of everything to do with the field? Well, how would you do it? What system of the test and the knowledge? And then you're going to have people say, oh no, I did well and you didn't do this. And well, that per examiner, if you want to call us that, is this, and this person's biased. I think I am, not to brag about myself or anything here, I think I'd be good, because I've worked my way from knowing nothing all the way up to my position where I am. I've done it all. I never had any mentors. Or the mentors I've had have been high people. Okay? I just don't understand how we would do it. I don't understand what kind of people we would attract. How would you deny somebody that really wants to get into a field? Or, say just out the top of our head, our good friend Suzanne walks in the room and says, I want to be certified. What will she do right and what will she do wrong? Lauren wants to be certified. What will we do right and what will we do wrong? Could there be a possibility of failure when this person, like Suzanne, had been in it for years? Oh, she didn't do this one thing right. It's like a truck driver. He didn't do the backing procedure right and he fails. You know, what chance do you have to come back and do it again and prove yourself right? And how many chances do you get? I mean, if you're going to take a road test, you get as many chances as you get as big as your wallet is. As much as you can pay for the chances you get.
It's like anything that's a practice, Wade. When you're practicing something, you're not perfect. You have knowledge and you understand a certain degree, but to know everything and to be completely flawless is just, we're still human. You know? I can't say, though, that it is a very expensive thing to have a psychic, a paranormal team, or whatnot. There is a lot of us out here, though, who do things at low to no cost. We have a more of a charitable side to us. The qualifying people can get discount services to no-cost services depending on the severity of the situation or whatnot. So there is a group of us out there that offer to help people with these things if they have, barely any means to even put food in the fridge. But yet they are suffering greatly from some kind of condition in their life, whether it's a haunting, whether it's a crossing, whatever it is. There's a lot of us out there who like to see people turn around and be happy, believe it or not. There's a lot of us out there. There's a gentleman that I am trying to start building a co-op with from Lou's Roots for Humanity, where we offer low-cost and no-cost service and supplies to people who need help in the pagan community. And there's also one run by Dr. Crow. He is the veteran worker, and he also has a charity that's I think he's just about to launch it. But together we help each other with resources on a case-by-case basis, and try to help people, just like a regular church would, where churches have turned these people away because of their faith. So, if you do your research, it benefits to do your research, because you would never find out about these resources if you didn't try to research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Not all of us are making a business out of this sense to make money. There's a lot of us out there where this is just a supplemental thing. We love to help people. We like to do it. If we can, if we could save another soul and lead them to happiness, even greater. We are out there, but it is hard to find us, and you'll only find us through research. We have enemies within our own kind who come and attack us, and so we sometimes we help each other. It's a world inside of a different world, and you're going to have your bad and you're going to have your good ones, but at least you can be taught to you're educated on how to determine who is legit and who isn't.
Yeah.
To charge for a free consultation, if something's going on horribly, you can't get out of bed, something's wrong with you, and you go get your cards read or a little divination, or you need a little help, but you're on a fixed income, and this help can get you out of bed on your feet again. I mean, I don't understand how anyone can turn that away.
Yeah.
But there are people who will, and will say it's $500 for this. I know one guy who charges for reversing work for $175, and you really don't even know if he's done the work or not. You got to watch out for shady practice, because it's everywhere. So it's just like the world. You can go to Ford, or you can go to the dealership on the corner that is run out of a shack, and you choose. You have two to choose from. At least give yourself something to choose from, and I can't emphasize enough. Do your research when looking for people to help you. It can, one, get you hurt, or two, put you into bankruptcy. These services are not cheap.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think I've earned a penny for anything I've ever done. Even my tarot reading, I mean, I've gone to a psychic fair one time, but all the money was used to pay off a bill. The flea market and the other place I've done my tarot readings, and they've all been off to pay personal either health bills or regular bills. So it's nothing that I've ever had for personal. And somebody's going to go out there and go, well, how do you think everybody pays? They pay their bills, and they do this, and they do. I'm talking, there's some people out there, and I know somebody in particular. They make money, and they go on a cruise. They make money, and they buy a new car. They make money, and they go and spend it on some leisure activities. It just fascinates me. And like you said, there's people out there that's suffering. I've never charged once for any of my clearing services, any of my cleansing services, my blessings, my exorcism, my investigation services. Anything we've ever done, I never charged for. And I'm going to tell you why I never charged for it. One, how much am I going to charge? Is there a limit to the charging for this service? Secondly, I can't look at somebody in the eyes and says... I can't look in somebody's eyes and say, please, give me such and such a money. Such and such of a dollar amount, such and such of a contract deal, such and such of a financial matter. It doesn't matter to me what these people want. I can't look them in the eyes and say that. I also, some of these cases that I deal with, now they're confidential, not going to discuss them, but some of these are energy draining, life threatening, No one else wants to help. And I explained it to me. You're not going to call the cops. You're not going to call the fire department. You're not going to call some specialty, bug group to spray some chemicals on it. So these things have to be done with people like us. Now, I've heard people say, and I imagine there's listeners out there today that are saying, wait a minute, you stupid fools, you have a right to charge. You're spending your time, our time. Well, I'll tell you something about this. If I didn't want to spend my time, I wouldn't be doing it. There's a lot more things in life I could be doing, and trust me, dealing with some of the clients I've dealt with, doing some of the things I've done, I've spent upwards of 14 hours in a dark room with a camera and a recorder and another investigator, and they're trying to find something to help somebody. Now, I'm not complaining, but I'm going to tell you, if I didn't want to do it, I definitely would not be doing it. So time, I hate the thing, time is money. Time is not money, okay? Time is not money. That's the rudest thing anybody could have ever come up with, okay? But I do understand the people that are saying these things, because in a way they're right. We do need to have our financial bills met. We do need to have, I imagine you and the other psychics, they have families. I have a daughter. I imagine, we have things we have to deal with. But to me, helping somebody is more gratification than any money can be put on something. To me, it's a hobby. It's not only a hobby, okay? Some people will say, oh, it's a hobby. No, it's not a hobby. It has become a lifestyle. It's not necessarily a lifestyle either, because it's something I chose to do. But it's just like, like let's say a volunteer fireman. My daughter used to understand that if Daddy had to leave that night, or if Daddy can't go to the park with her, because I have a case that I have to leave for at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because I'm traveling 4 hours away, to be in the dark for 14 hours, that's part of Daddy's job. And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't want to give credit to it. They don't want to say it. But what we do is we sacrifice above and beyond what the normal human being should. And I don't think these psychics that you're talking about would make those sacrifices. Oh, $170. Well, guess what, buddy? Let's do it without the $170. Are you that good? I can definitely say that my tarot reading and my investigation services, my other services I offer with blessings and cleansings, are 100% accurate, whether it's money or not. Okay? 100% guaranteed good. And I know you are, I know Susan is, I know Ruth is, I know Lauren is, I know the other two people I know are. But are these other people that good? Can they stand in the ring with the championship belt, leave the ring with the championship belt, and not complain that their back hurts? Not complain that their legs hurt?
Lucky for everyone listening, we have a really good list of credible, reputable, knowledgeable workers on the whole spectrum. We know some paranormal people through Wade. We know some hoodoo and some Wicca and some magic people through mine and Suzanne's channels. I'm sure we through Ruth, I'm sure we can get, nice, we could recommend, and which is what we try to do. We try to find people who we have personally experienced, and we do this just up the board. So people don't get screwed. I told you about the charity because I want people to know out there that there is a group of us who do offer services. I know Suzanne works a lot on barter. We do barter. We still believe in the old ways of bartering. So not only do you have that option? But now you've got some people who are saying, hey, you know what? We will do for you what's in our scope. You know, if you really can't afford it, you know, there's a little process to qualify people, of course. We have to, because it's literally money out of our pockets, and it is not cheap to do this work. That's why so many people do charge. How do you know they're charging outrageously? Well, you just do a little market shopping. You shop around, you kind of give yourself a good margin. Well, how do I know that what I paid for is worth it? Read the testimonials. Ask other people, ask questions.
But what happens, let's ask the question, what happens if? And I know this happens, and I know some people are going to say, oh, Wade knows some knowledge that other people don't. Trust me. I know this happens. People will go out and get their friends and do testimonials. People will tell people what to write. People will say, hey, I'll tell you what, instead of $170, $160, I want you to give me this. I want you to write this. I want you to say this. I don't think necessarily whatever you read, if you go up to my website right now, you know that it's real. You know that the stories are there. You know that the testimonies are there. You know I'm a real person. But there's some people out there right now that aren't that way, that will put anything in their website so they are number one and they get the business.
Well, all you have to do is go, you know, with technology, thank goodness, all you have to do is go to Google ratings and see what other people are saying. You know, we don't know everybody in the world. You know, we have no control of what people leave on reviews when it comes to stuff like, a lot of us are associated with review sites like Yelp, Google, you know, all that gives people options to leave honest opinions. When you have 150, 200 opinions there, it's pretty safe to say that that's not the same friend going in every day under a username doing this for you. Nobody has that kind of time. It's not practical. So you know, you really, if they don't have many reviews, you call them and you talk to them. You call them. I'm going to tell you what. I have never, ever, ever charged for a consultation. Never. I don't understand people who charge for consultations. It takes absolutely no time or energy to spread knowledge that you use on a daily basis, like for the last 15, 25, 30, 40 years of your life. It takes no energy. So that's a good start. Find someone who gives you a free consultation. But again, you got to do a little of your research too, so you know a little bit of what they're talking about, because there's terminology that you're not going to know unless you're in some kind of practice. So you can't go on that. You know, nothing's foolproof, but if you put a little effort, you have a better chance of not getting screwed than if you go to Tara the Medium, who has a country code of 01, who sends you sigils in the mail and, you know, all the stuff in your mailbox, and then you go and you can just type in what's in your mailbox, and you'll see that everybody else has gotten the same message. I mean, simple research. You know?
Yeah, but that's
a perfect example. These online psychics is a perfect example. A perfect example.
Now I've made a reputation for being a great online Facebook psychic here.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones who have these pages. They send you all these opt-in email campaigns, and you get a message. Oh, I have an important message for you. Click here. Here's what I'm going to do for you. All for $9.99, and then reoccurring payments. I'll be your personal psychic and guide you every step of the way. And this is what's happening to you today. And oh no, I see this. But then you type in just the body of the email. Seriously. Just take the body of the email and type it in your Google search bar. See how many other people got that same email. I'm not kidding you. It is as simple as that. It works. That kind of tells you, okay, she's really not talking to me. She sent this same email to a million other people. Versus somebody like Ruth, who is on here, you know, we know that first of all, we know she's here in the United States. If you're in the United States, stay with someone in the United States if you can. Unless you've developed a relationship elsewhere, that's fine. But number one, because a lot of these psychics, when you research some of these mediums, go back to like China, India, and they throw you off with these American names. Hi, I'm Jill. Hi, I'm Bob. You know what I mean? So simple stuff like that is a really good way to save yourself from finding a shady practitioner of any sort. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like anything. You're not going to go out there and hire a carpenter that has a truck, a few nails, and a hammer in the back of his truck. You're going to hire the guy who has a big van, knows what he's talking about, gives you a receipt, gives you a free estimate, and doesn't pat your wife on the behind on his way out. The same with roofing. I've heard stories about roofing more than I have carpentry. Oh, you need a new roof, and the guy didn't even go up on your roof. He stood there in the yard, looked up there, and said, "You need a new roof." Well, some of these psychics are standing in your yard, standing there telling you need a new roof. When there's somebody like me that'll come on your property with a goddamn boom truck like the electric company has, climb up there or something. Okay, borrow the fire department's frickin' bucket tower, go up there, spray some water on your roof, and climb in your attic and see if it's actually leaking through or not. Well, maybe it just needs nice tarring in your frickin' ceiling of your attic. It needs nothing to do with your roof. Maybe there's 2 shingles off. We'll staple 2 shingles up there, cover the hole, and I'll shake your hand and I'll be on my way.
And it's it's whatever.
You know?
It's a fair rate. It's a fair rate, and you see what you're paying for. That's a lot of it. It's a lot of people in all of our industries, like, they're not too sure what they're paying for. They're really putting a lot of faith into people like us. So when they get burned, it's like, what do they have faith in now? I mean, usually when people come to us, it's usually probably because it's the final step. They're pretty desperate. And there's a lot of people out there taking advantage. But it's not all of us. It's not all of us. And if you do your research, you will find, you'll find what you need and what you don't need. There's a lot of people out there. Getting involved in the networks and shows like this will really kind of point them the right direction.
Well, see, another thing I want to...
Obviously not in this for the money.
Another thing I want to explain to people is that just because you have somebody like Ruth or Suzanne or you, me or Lauren, doesn't mean that you have to base it on this. You have to go and find out what your reasoning is. And I find the second most horrible thing people come to me for is the simplest, dumbest stuff. You don't need a psychic to tell you that you can go onward when your life after your relative has died. You don't need a psychic to tell you that. And I've done 2 cases recently where the people needed a psychiatrist to sit in a chair and talk to them. They did not need paranormal services. They did not need a psychic services. They needed real life, everyday things to help them with their situations. I tell them that, and whatever they wanted to do is up to them. But I'm honest with them and say, this service is not for you. This is what I seriously think you can do. And I walked away. Now, was that good? Would somebody else have preyed on those people? Absolutely. They would have been vultures on a dead zebra carcass in a heartbeat. It's
with all respect to the industry, there does need to be some sort of monetary value to what people like us offer, because we have to be able to keep offering it. We can't keep offering, things if we're not bringing in the funding for it. So there does have to be some money made. However, there is such thing as oversale, and this isn't retail. A lot of people look at it like the retail world. Oh, you bought a pair of shoes, you must buy a dress. It's just not, and so you look for people who sound a lot more practical to the situation. I've had a lot of people come up and ask me for like 5 days workings when they only really needed 2, and right there, this person was going to charge me this month, $2,000, $2,500. And I go, okay, well, I think I can, I think I can do it in 2 phases, and it's going to cost X amount. And that basically covers my time, of course, and supplies. My time is not as valuable as, and the stuff we need to keep these services going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to watch out for that too. That's a big one right there. If anybody starts you off with anything other than a cleanse, right there's a red flag.
You mean I cannot offer somebody a nice back rub, and I cannot offer somebody a nice mowing of the lawn before I'm allowed to have a psychic reading with them?
I'm just saying, typically when you go into stuff like this, it is common practice, and I see a lot of people offering services without even offering, the most important thing, which is cleanse. Because we got to rid of that negative conditioning that's lingering in around you. We got to recondition the environment before we can effectively go in and rebalance it. And that's really all it is. And a lot of people will go, oh, you need this. We dive straight into the work. But they still have all this negative stuff in them. They carry this bad energy in the house. I mean, you've got to start off with a cleanse. Always, always, always. Start off with a cleanse. And that's another way to kind of identify somebody who is out for your best interest, is how much do they care about doing it properly. The proper way is always start off with a cleanse. Always start with a cleanse. So that, I would say that if anyone doesn't offer that when they first, try to offer you a service, kind of ask like, how come you didn't ask me for a cleanse? I give most of my cleanses, like 95% of my cleanses before I dive into the work, I don't even charge for. Because I need them to be cleansed so I can, have a little more security that it's going to manifest properly. If I do work on somebody who has all this negative around them and there's bad conditions around them, my work isn't going to be effective.
Uh-huh.
It's going to really take a lot of what I'm doing. It's like it helps me too. So I offer that myself, and a lot of others do too. I offer the cleanses usually free.
Yeah, but here's a question.
I know how much it costs me. I know how much it costs me for a simple cleanse. I'm not talking the hardcore, because I have different levels of cleanses, and there are different levels. And if it gets more complicated, I'll charge minimally. But for a simple cleanse, just a simple bath, so the work can come in and do what it needs to do, is necessary.
But here's a question: how?
For both me and the client.
Yeah, but here's a question: how would somebody listening to this program right now? It comes up to you and says, "I need this." You offer them a cleansing. You offer them. How would they know that what they're getting from you is better than what they would get from me?
Well, first of all, nothing is guaranteed. That's the first thing right off the bat. Can you guarantee this is going to work for me? Absolutely not.
I can guarantee what I do. Well, what I do is a lot different than what you do. So I can guarantee to a certain degree that what I'm doing will help them. I can, and I have.
That's a key word. That's a key word right there, to a certain degree. We can guarantee that we're going to get you what we know, or what we understand, what we have been educated to use, that has a history of being successful with other people. So we can guarantee that we're going to use what we know has other people have given testimony on and what works. Can we guarantee it's going to work for you? No. There's no guarantee.
No.
There's no guarantee. It's a risk.
Well,
It's a
I always like to say there's a guarantee because I feel better if I can guarantee somebody that they're going to feel better, their life is going to be better, their surroundings are going to be better, their situation gets better, and overall it's going to benefit them for the better. It's going to be better for them in the long run.
Maybe, but it's professionally irresponsible to guarantee stuff in my field Even for a psychic, because maybe the spirit doesn't want to come through. It's not up to the psychic at that point. It's up to the spirit. Does the spirit want to cooperate? Doesn't it? And it's the same thing with us. If the spirits don't want to cooperate, if they have some ancestor blockage that the ancestors think they know what's best for them, and they're not going to cooperate, then how can we guarantee what the universe is going to do? I can't guarantee what the universe is going to do.
No.
I can only guarantee that the method has worked before for others, but I can't guarantee what the universe is going to do, because the universe is funny. There's works that, you could do tomorrow that might not manifest in 2 years, and they'll say it didn't work. It's a sticky area. It's a sticky area.
But using that example, don't you know that this incarnation, this spell, this ritual, this thing you're doing for them, you can look at them and say, give it 2 years, because that's how long it's going to take. And me, when I walk into a house and I say, it's going to be gone, negative energy gone, the demon's going to be gone, I can say this may take up to a month before everything settles down, and then call me and let me know when it settles down so I can do the next thing for you. Because I know as a professional how long it takes.
That's where divination comes in, because if you've really built up your divination skills and you've really connected with your divination tools, you can get usually an approximate time frame. The cards reveal a lot. You're a tarot reader, you know this.
Yeah.
So we can get a ballpark idea, but if they don't reveal a day, a time, or anything, we can only go by what we're looking at and maybe give an estimate, and it could be that long. But the thing is people get impatient. They want things now, and what folks need to understand is, one, have realistic expectations, because we are still on an earthly plane. We still live in the dimension we live on, and we still have to, try to pass through other channels. It's not like, there's a lot in divination.
Yeah.
But, again, if the message doesn't want to come through, if the universe doesn't want to give us the message, then there's nothing we can do. You just wait. You wait it out, and you don't sit there and wait for it every day to happen. You go about your normal life and don't think about it. A lot of people sit there day to day, oh my God, I did this money conditioning, and it's been a week and nothing's happened, and I'm sitting here and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Well, right there, you're going to put resistance on yourself. That's a big mistake a lot of clients make, is they're like, it's been 2 days, nothing's happened. Well, are you just sitting there waiting for it to happen? A lot of times, like, yeah, I'm just sitting there. I went and bought lottery tickets, I did this, I did that. I said, you know what, go about your everyday, what you do every day. Go about living and don't even think about it. And that's when you're going to see a lot of these things manifest. So it's not just us that needs to control the conditions. It's the client needs to also do their part, because if they're not doing their part, they could do things that go against it. And they can. A lot of people go against the advice we give them. You know this. You out of all people understand it. You give them instructions and advice, and they want shortcuts. They do it the fast way. Well, oh my God, it's not working. Well, did you do this? No, I didn't think it was important. Well, it is important. So we need as much cooperation from the clients, because, again, we only have so much control. It takes effort from them as well. The number one thing, just go about your life. Don't sit there and think about it. And, that's usually when you see things start to change.
Well, I think the most thing that people have problems with is we tell them something like, don't focus on that, or that is what brought the negative energy in your house, or the thinking and the reality of what you're doing is doing this, and the people don't want to change. They don't want to say, okay, I realize this, and this. But I think it's human nature to stand there and say, you're telling me what to do, I don't like it, and I'm going to do something different. But in my field, maybe not as much as yours, the person is trusting my knowledge. They're trusting my background that what I'm telling them is the absolute that they can do. I don't know in your field, maybe you have more choices with the services you offer, but in my field, I have two choices. In the paranormal, we can cleanse and clear, or the person still suffers. And a lot of people don't want to do what we say because they don't know if it's going to work, because their life is changing, they're afraid of change. And I think that's a lot of stuff with the tarot readings that I do, that people hear something and they don't want to believe it at that moment. And their mind switches to, oh, this is horrible, instead of, oh, okay, and like you said, letting it be. Letting your daily life proceed, knowing that something's going to happen. So if you did a money charm or a money spell, that person's going to get money. Maybe they get a different job. Maybe they got more hours. And I think a lot of people don't realize that money comes in different fashion. It's not going to be like it drops on their front porch with a package from UPS. They might get extra hours at work. Or a bill might never be owed because somehow the bill is never paid. The bill was paid. It was never dealt with. Or for some reason the bill was never charged. The computer skipped over it. I think a lot of times people miss this stuff. And like you said, going in their regular everyday lives, they want to complicate things. They want to make things a little extra. And I'm not saying that's bad. I just think it's human nature. And as I say that, folks, I notice we're coming up on a break. We've discussed a lot of stuff here. So when we come back, I think the main question that we're going to try to focus on is how you, the person that's listening to this, can benefit from us. What does the client expect from us? And I'm going to reveal something to you that a lot of people don't realize about the paranormal field when we come back. Folks, my website is www.brotherwade.com. Don't forget to go up on Facebook to the Thrifty Witchery on Facebook. And don't forget our phone number. Our lines are still open, 607-238-3816. We'll be right back. And we're back. Website www.brotherwade.com. You can also visit the Thrifty Witchery up on Facebook. Our chat room is full tonight here on iVlogTV.com. Great to see everybody again. We're back. We had a little discussion earlier about our skills, about who we are as investigators and psychics. And I said I was going to review some things. And that is that this business is not as lucrative as you think it is. Our responsibility to the client is 100%. Our responsibility to that client that I'm helping with their demon, I'm helping with their cleansing of their house, their negative energy, the spirits, the ghost, the things that are on that property that I'm investigating. I'm 100% to that client. A lot of people don't realize that 100% to the client means whatever that client is doing, whatever that client wants, they get. They get it. Now Mysti joins us up here. Welcome back.
Hello.
What do you think of that? Do you think I'm right by the client deserves 100% of what of being right and whatever services I'm offering, and they deserve to be treated fairly? I mean, in your field, maybe you have different kind of clients than I do. I don't know.
Well, it's with any professional business. How are you supposed to get credibility if you're not, like, working ethically? That's an ethics question. And in fact, everyone that I associate with in my circle, we abide by a very strict code of ethics. And, we follow them, we live by them. not just in the professional aspect, but in every day of our lives, in our personal lives, you know. Because what we do in our personal lives is just so happens to be the same thing we do in our professional lives.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah, that's it.
see, you have different clients than I do. You have different avenues than I do. I am more of a
Not
come in
necessarily.
and prove something, come in and see if something exists. If it does, take care of it. You're more of a person where they know what they want and they want you to help them get it.
It depends. We have different avenues for what we do, just like a medium has different avenues for what they do. There's a lot of law enforcement uses them. You know, I mean, there's everybody inquires and utilizes it. Ghost hunters will call on us a lot of times because not every ghost hunter that goes out there knows how to get rid of what they're dealing with. You know what I mean? You got ghost hunters and you got investigators. The hunters are what we call the looky-loos, look, but they don't really go beyond that. Investigators go and just try to prove what they can and that there is actually a shift of energy, an influence of different energy coming in. And then a lot of times they call us because they don't know how to deal with what they have discovered is there. And there's different ways to deal with different things. I mean, a spirit is not a ghost is not a demon is not an entity. I mean, it is an entity, but you have other entities. It's just there's different levels of these things that come into people's homes. Is it a land attachment? Is it a personal attachment? Is it just passing by? Are you on a portal? You know, and depending on what it is, depends on how you have to handle what you're dealing with. You know, if you're dealing with a land attachment, you're not going to be able to get rid of it. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to. So you teach them how to coexist, or how to lay dormancy. You can put them dormant, like you can put them to sleep, but you know, without proper maintenance and everything like that, it's probably not going to go away. It's a land attachment. It's a very versus just something that's passing through. Like these shadow figures, okay, we can banish those, we can get rid of those, we can send them back, and you know, whatever the case is, each one is not the same, and so there's different ways to deal with different types of activity. So that we do get called on a lot to help researchers and people who have been through stigmatized properties to help deal with whatever it is they're dealing with. You know?
Yeah.
Some of us have a very narrow scope of what kind of energy we'll deal with. There's others that are like you who don't really have a narrow scope and will go in there fully armored, ready to take on, you know, the spawn of hell. So yeah, I mean, that's where our two industries cross into each other. So we're kind of the same family. We're just a different arm of the tree, you know.
And it's kind of interesting you bring up the point that we have different avenues. You know, again, we go back to, you know, like maybe a construction site, or I use the fire department a lot because people can recognize the dangers of the fire department, and we thank them for what they do, by the way. But, you know, you are that one that knocks down after I go in. I am the type that goes in there to rescue. I am the type that has to face the flames. Lauren is the type that holds the hose, and he is going to back me up. But, you know, I'm the first one into the flames. He backs me up, and when we're done, when the fire is out and it's done, you come in and make sure it doesn't happen again. Make sure it's gone. Make sure it's totally out of there.
Yeah, we kind of are after that, the after counseling, I guess, of, okay, well, like when you go into surgery, they come after post-op and they give you the directions on how to keep yourself well. We're kind of the same people. We go there and help, you know, who isn't the investigators who really don't deal with, okay, from now we know something's there, what do? They call us, we lay out the options. Well, from what they've said, this is probably going to be most effective. And we teach them how to deal with that, whatever the end result is, how to keep it away or dormant or friendly or live at peace, coexist. You know, it all depends on what you're dealing with, on how you're going to. But, you know, a lot of these investigators don't know anything beyond their scope. And they call us in. They call the mediums in to do house cleansings. We're a little more intense than just walking through the house with a, with a sage stick. There's a lot more to it than that. And they call us because, they want to make sure that these people can live in peace, or, so they know what their next step is,
Yeah. See,
Some people are just like, I'm moving. Okay, well.
see, I'm
well,
very
everything
unique.
you own.
I have that aspect of all that roundedness. I kind of in one man show here. But then again, if me and you were going to work together, we still have our own fields. I am the type to walk it up to it and tell it to get out of there. You're the type to stand there and say, okay, let's do it this way. And then we have people like Lauren that'll stand back and say, let's work at it from a distance. But all of us are doing the same job, and all of us are relying on, our skills to make sure we survive. And a lot of people don't understand that this is not easy. After you come down from a case, and I've learned it with tarot reading, after I've done, a lot of our sessions on our YouTubes, I'm down for half a day. I'm out. I'm out of the picture. And I have done cases after cases and like that where, my body is starting to fall apart a little bit. And you have to redo your energy. You have to redo your energy. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is I always protect. I always do what I'm supposed to. But what the general public doesn't realize is they see on TV the investigation. They see the people in the building. They see them come and leave. They don't see the rest of the picture. They don't. And I've often wanted to make, if anybody's listening to my voice right now, I've often wanted to make a show where it shows the rest of the stuff. Where it shows the demon coming after you. Where it shows me standing there with praying over somebody or helping somebody with something that's attaching themselves to it. And I have to stand there. I can't leave. It's like an EMT and CPR. You can't stop and say, damn, my arms hurt. Wait a minute. Okay, let's go back to this. You got to keep doing until you get to the hospital. Just like me, I have to keep going until it's gone. If I'm there for a day, I'm there. If I'm tired, I'm tired. If something happens, something happens. And I've always told anybody I've ever worked with, if something happens to me, you get a video camera and you keep it rolling. Because that would be the best evidence. Maybe a lot of people don't see me right now that may be listening to our archives, or even the people watching our iVlog TV chat room here. I stand 6'3". I'm 309 pounds. I'm not a small man. I have a background in different types of trainings and some martial arts. If a demon really wanted to throw me through a wall, the thing's real. And it's powerful. Thank God I've never had in a situation where I've been badly hurt. I've had situations. I've had things happen to me. Don't think I'm all innocent here. I've provoked. I've learned the hard way a lot of the lessons in this field. Again, I didn't have, when I started, we didn't have anything to go by. I think there was maybe 2 shows on TV. And I learned as I went. And the mentors I had were people just like me. We were all kind of in the field helping each other. So, the war stories that I can tell from this business would be just a show in itself. We could do a whole show on just the bad stuff that can happen to us. But these people that are listening to us aren't realizing that to do this stuff, and I imagine in your arts, the magic arts, you have to give some of your energy and yourself to something, and sometimes you're not the same afterwards. I've been on a few cases where I look back and say, holy crap, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And still to this day, my mind is just not right because of it. Now, we're not talking heavy possession. We're not talking bad stuff. But we're talking some, choices that I made that might not have been nice, or a little minor possession, or like my arm is my shoulder was grabbed, and still to this day I can't move it right. I've seen things, I've heard things, and I imagine in your profession too. Um, there's been times when stuff has happened, or there's been times when you've had to do stuff above and beyond, and it took a little bit out of you.
Mhm.
I, and 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 I keep illustrating, and I keep telling these people that are listening to us, don't think this is for anybody. Okay, don't think you can. Anybody, like you said, could get that. Oh, look, see. Oh, yay, yay. Let's go in a cemetery. And I've told people, you want to go on a ghost hunt? Good. Take a nice shotgun, get a nice round of ammo, and when you catch something, you bring it to me, and I'll help you stuff it. Because it's that attitude that people say, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that." Oh, we're going ghost hunting. Good. I would like to have a little bit of whatever, to put on the grill of whatever you catch. It's always been a laugh thing to me. Is when they say I'm going ghost hunting, okay, keep me the back legs, because a ghost hunt is just that. You're going out and seeing a ghost and leaving. What I do is not only the ghost hunt of finding it, it's taking care of it. Then it's scientifically, with data proving it, disproving it. It's working with people, and a lot of people don't realize that we work with people in bad situations. People go to school and have training in different professions to deal with sadness, to deal with loss, to deal with problematic people. We don't have that background in schooling. I've had to learn, like I said, the hard way how to deal with people. And we're dealing with people with the loss of loved ones. We're dealing with the people with the loss of friends. They're scared. I remember a case where the person's own relative was haunting the house. They were a mess. It goes above and beyond that investigation. Goes
That's
above
what
and
we
beyond
do.
the ghost or the spirit.
Yeah, with the spirit. See, whereas that's kind of where we have a different approach. Like a lot of times, we rely heavily on the guidance and the wisdom of our relatives that have passed, that are, hanging around, watching over us, watching over their property. That's one of the instances where maybe an investigator will come up to us and be like, hey, we figured out that what is sticking to the property is actually an elder of this person, a great-great-grandfather or whatever, is sticking around, and this is the kind of person he was, and he existed, this is what he liked. So we try to get as much information as we can, if it is a past relative, because a lot of times it's just a matter of they want to be remembered. And some people, when we counsel them on, okay, here's your options in dealing with a relative, we can send them on their way, pass them over, which is what a lot of mediums do.
Yeah.
But then you have a lot of us in the conjure world who are more like, no, you know what? Leave them off here. They're going to protect you. So basically, we lay it on the line. We can get rid of it, or we can teach you how to keep your ancestors around, remember them, and appreciate them, because they're going to ultimately be the ones that are kind of watching your property, watching, out, making sure everyone's okay, make sure nobody bad comes in. See, so it's perspective. So when we go in, it's like we give options.
Yeah.
When investigators talk to it, when investigators come, like with the one that I was working with up here, when they would come to me and be like, well, what have you guys figured out what's there? I'm like, okay, so I'm just like prepared to walk in and tell the people, here's what, they already know what they found, this is your options with this kind of activity. And we let them choose. Some of them are like, wow, my great-grandmother's here. Oh, no, we like her to protect us. We like her here. We just don't want her to throw stuff. So we kind of teach them how to coexist. Other people are like, oh, heck no, let's pass them over. That's where your mediums come in, a lot of mediums. That's kind of their arena. unless but then again, a lot of people who do, do root work practice or whatnot, they have a lot of the same tools that the mediums do. Some just aren't as clairvoyant or as psychic, but everyone who's been doing this for a long time has some form of psychic ability, because we have to be able to divinate. So, and that's where our two professions kind of cross. That's where we end up working together. A lot of these things kind of cross in this whole sphere of professional types that we are. They always kind of crisscross to where you see a lot of psychics on paranormal teams, and you see a lot of Wiccans. Lately, I've seen a lot of Wiccans parts of paranormal teams.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's necessarily Wiccan, but you see a lot of Wiccans in the paranormal teams. But again, for the same reason that you would see us working with one, we do work with them. A lot of that, well, like me in particular, I don't so much like working with demonic things. That's nothing that I would ever get involved with. But then you have others who are necromancy, who are very comfortable and understand and know how to work with these things and really effectively help, people in homes deal with them. A lot of times people aren't that patient though. They're just like, oh, hell no, I'm out of here. But then you still got to worry about the next family that moves in and so on. Because, when you sell a house, I know in the state of Texas, at least when I was in real estate school, you weren't allowed to reveal that a house had been suspected of haunting, because you would stigmatize the property. The only thing the agent will tell you is do research on the property if you have any concerns about anything that might have occurred here. So they really put it in the hands of the consumer. Consumers usually like, oh, I don't feel anything, that is great, and then things don't manifest for like 6 months down the line. So they end up on this property where they're kind of stuck with.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
That's when they call you guys in, and then you guys call us in, and they're like, okay, here's your option.
Well, see, I'm also an investigator, so it's kind of like, like I said, we're the first ones in. We're the first ones on the scene, a lot of times, or the second ones on the scene, because let's say you come in and somebody said, well, I got a spirit, I want to talk to my relative or the psychic, and then they say, well, this is there, so we're kind of like that rescue crew. We're kind of like the ones that's got to strap up and go in no matter what it is.
We're the spiritual 911, I guess.
And I've never sat there and said, oh, by the way, is it demonic or is this your relative? I've gone in there with what's in here. What's in here? I mean, it's like figuring it out. What kind of thing am I up against? And you'd never know. And the only way to find out is to get in there and do it. And then when you get in there and you find out it's demonic or evil or doesn't like you or harmful or negative, you then have to deal with it. And you have to deal with the client. And you got to help them through it. And then when we call you and you say, somebody like you says, I can't deal with that, you're there until somebody else can come in and help them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dual role, and I've been doing it for 16 years. I like what I do, or I wouldn't be in the profession. But, like I said earlier, there's some things that I don't like about it. There's some cases that I've had that I looked back and said, oh my, what was I thinking? What was I thinking when I stood there and asked it to come out? And what was I thinking when I said, use my energy and show yourself now? I mean, It's unbelievable what we see, and sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes you'll go somewhere and you'll sit in a room for, like I said, 14 hours and there's nothing there. Somebody like you will come in and say, oh, it's their relatives. I do see it, I know what it is, and you guys will help. We all really,
at the end of the day, we're all really just one big network and referral system. And that really helps the person who is dealing with the issue, is because they don't really know what exactly our roles are or how they play in the big picture. They know there's an investigator in. They know they need one, but they don't really understand the dynamics of actually getting deep down and dirty into this work until they are there watching it. And it's always an awe moment for them. It's always an awe moment. But they're scared, and we scare them. Sometimes they're more afraid of us than they are of what's in their house because of the knowledge and abilities that people like us in this big network of, I guess, paranormal people or investigators or whatever it is. We're all a part of some kind of phenomena that's outside the social norm. And that in itself really is like weird to people. They're like, oh my God. It's like we live in a completely different world in the same world that they're in. It's like a sub-world or something that we live in because we have these connections to these energies and things. And a lot of people get really afraid of us too, on the same token. Like, you know.
Well, and fear can do a lot of things. If somebody is afraid,
Yeah.
I've seen people that have been violently afraid of something. And it just made it worse because fear is that old, feeling that's there for survival. And then you realize you're not going to survive.
Your fight or flight.
Well, it's not even the fight or
in.
flight. Fear is beyond the fight or flight. The fear that I've seen in
you
people.
have a natural response to either stay or go. Like fight or flight is your natural response. Your I guess your tolerance to your fears. And all of a sudden, it's not even you that takes over. Your mind just kind of takes over at that point. It's your fight or flight response.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's more once that fight or flight stops with fear, it also can become a health problem. Scared to death is an actual medical thing. It's
Absolutely.
where something has caused your heart to stop because it had too much stimulation of the feeling. Now it's either they say it's anger, they say it's sadness, depression, but fear can absolutely can destroy someone.
You can turn your hair gray. You've seen people who have been. In fact, you're a paranormal investigator. You've probably seen this where somebody has just been so, just terrified that it literally turned their hair white. It literally turns their hair white. And it's the way, that's how serious it is.
Yeah.
In a person to have that much fear, it literally does cause a physical reaction internally inside your body, not just your actions, but what it does to your health. It really does weigh down.
And the other things it does too.
When people are desperate, they start calling us, and when people are desperate, that's when they just kind of start looking for anybody who can get it done quick, and that's where they fall into that whole trap of, not finding the right person or, finding somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing. So fear is really damaging even to a person's judgment, so.
Well, also fears. I've always said fear is one of those feelings that cannot be understood because it's so much of a different. Anger can be understood. You know what's done it. Sadness, happy. Fear is something that can be anything. I've seen people that react to a spirit just as well as somebody reacts to a spider on the wall. I've seen people react to wasps at picnics the same way somebody reacts to a voice in the middle of the dark. It's one of those feelings that is there. And some people just don't know they have it until something happens, and then that'll be the only time in their life they experience it. It's something you can't prepare for. It's something that you have to understand enough so that you could help the client if they're experiencing it, and make sure that the client is taken care of with it. And it goes back to you being a professional, like you said. Comes back.
You have to have real expectations. Now, the expectation of some of the people who we deal with is like, okay, they forget that we're still human. these unreal expectations sometimes get set on us because they've watched too much Charmed. So they have these expectations of us, like literally we can snap our fingers and just like transport ourselves and other beings, but it's not like that. The most important thing is to really kind of, when you like first talk to your client or whoever it is, you have to really kind of let them know. First of all, you have to have, practical, logical, feasible expectations, okay? We are not God. We are not the creator. We only have so much control over things. And people just think that for some reason we're superhuman. And we're not. We're not. We're just, they could develop, a lot of their own gifts and contribute to, our practices, whoever it may be. Their expectations sometimes, like even when they go to a psychic, their expectation is this, because we've heard this so much, want to know your past, present, future, da-da-da-da-da. The thing is we have so many fate lines to say that we can make the, like, impossible, and everything's possible, but I mean, let's face it, some things are just, like, impossible. They have these unreal expectations, and when we don't deliver to those expectations, they're like, you're a fake, or you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, from the very get-go, you really need to let them know, okay, here's what you can expect from me. This is my scope.
Yeah.
It's realistic, it's practical, and it's fairly logical. Anything outside of this, to me, it's whatever. But you really got to set guidelines from the very get-go. Because if you talk to them for a while, you start to realize that they have this just fantasy of what it is, we have the ability to do. And if we don't deliver, they're just, next thing you know, you get these bad reviews and whatnot. So from the very start, set those expectations straight. Let them know what they can expect from you and nothing more. And really be stern on that, because you see that a lot of times. You see that a lot of times where these workers will be called a fake and a fraud and whatnot. But then you read what the expectations of this person were. It's like, well, that's kind of impossible. We're human. We're not gods. We're not, we are not superhuman,
No, we're not. And people have to realize, and I've overstepped this, that there's only so much we can do before our energy or before our, existence sometimes is threatened by what we do. And I've overstepped the boundaries. I've told people and made some promises that I didn't know if it would be able to be done. And I'm sure everybody in this field has. But the one thing, to close on this subject, we're getting down to the bottom of the second half. We're very bottom of the second half, in fact.
I gotta get to bed.
Yes, and it has a moral to it, is that the client has to understand our stuff too. We can't be over demanding. We can't be over helping. We have boundaries too, but they also have to understand that we're here to help. I want everybody listening to know that you, me, Suzanne, Ruth, and Lauren are here to help them at any time. Like you said, there's a network. So if they ever need help, don't hesitate to ask. And I think that's going to wrap things up this week. Next week, we're going to have some more topics to talk about. www.thewadeshow.com, www.brotherwade.com, The Thrifty Witchery on Facebook. And don't forget that you can friend us on Twitter and Facebook as well. Yeah?
Yes, we're still doing a contest giveaway.
Oh, yes.
Thrifty Witchery on Facebook.
Oh, yes,
and
our contest.
A fully loaded free prosperity kit. It's going to be based on a lot of Taoistic symbolism. It's got some good stuff in it. with some instructions. It's about a $150 kit, but we're giving that away to hopefully bring some prosperity in luck, love, job, endeavors, whatever it may be that you need a little boost in. This is basically something that's going to help you recondition your environment so it becomes more attractive to your life. So really good stuff, really good stuff. I'm really proud of our kit. Have had a lot of good feedback, and it's all handcrafted, and it's done ritualistically, properly. So.
All right, well,
For free.
I look forward to doing this again next week, and don't forget www.brotherwade.com. Don't forget to friend us on Facebook. Don't forget to friend us on Twitter. And don't forget to look at our other archives on YouTube. We'll see you next week, folks.